You've fallen in with a bad crowd. In the dead of the night, through secret tunnels beneath the borders of your normalcy, we trade in the forbidden currency of illicit ideas. In broad daylight beneath the waves of conventional reality, we pilot sleek home-built cigarette submarines to traffic in the forbidden medium of free thought, bringing you to what you already possess but long to acquire, hiding in plain sight beneath your feet. This is the Hidden Path. What's up, everyone? You're tuned in to the Hidden Path podcast. We're brought to you by godlikeproductions.com. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Residence Rich, and it is Saturday night, September 22nd. We're coming to you live from our high-frequency headquarters, and for those of you tuning in from Godlike Productions, we'd like to ask you to help us support the site by considering purchasing a premium membership. You get some awesome perks and an awesome feeling inside knowing you are supporting the community. And if you're listening and don't know what GLP is, then go ahead and head on over to godlikeproductions.com. Check it out. Also, the podcast has a website. It is www.hiddenpathpodcast.com. That's where you can find all the information regarding this show. Also, tonight, we're going to do another spotlight for emerging musical artists, so be sure to stick around and check that out. We've got some great talent that's contacting us, and I think you'll like what you might hear later on in the show. And also, we'll be doing live calls later, so make sure you call me, like I said last time. Some of you guys weren't brave enough to call in, but tonight you're going to have to call me. We're going to talk, okay? Tonight, our guest, we got a special show for you. Our guest is Gabriel, and he's the co-founder of SciHouse Inc., which works to provide education about science and gives open access to tools and information for bioremediation. Their website is www.scihouse.space, and I got Gabriel on the line with me. How you doing, Gabriel?
Hey, how's it going? Doing well.
Great, man, great. So, Gabriel, tell us a little bit about what SciHouse is and what you guys hope to accomplish.
All right. So when we first started SciHouse, we actually didn't have any one particular goal other than to make access to scientific tools and scientific information available to other people. And so we kind of just started this collab space, this maker space where people could come in and they could learn how to do things. But it turned into something much more. Now we do independent research. We do outreach to local high schools, and we teach workshops at the laboratory that we have. SciHouse is a 501c3 nonprofit. And our mission is to do educational outreach and biology research.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and education is so important these days too, especially in science. It seems like, especially in this country, it seems like we're lacking a little bit in that department, and maybe in a lot of other departments. What is it you hope to accomplish in the education realm? Or I guess we all hope to accomplish the best, but I mean, what is it that you kind of do? What do you guys kind of do to reach children, I guess, with the science thing?
Well, so you were talking about how we're lacking in the science education.
Yes.
And in some areas, I totally agree with you. But there's one thing that we're actually really good at, and this can be seen in like the maker communities and the DIY communities that have sprung up all over the country. A lot of this has to do with hands-on education.
Yes.
And usually this used to be the realm of a mechanic or a plumber or an electrician. You know, and you'd go out and you'd be a journeyman and you'd get that. Mm-hmm. But it turns out that what that had to do was actually just the access to the tools and the information. And so once you have the tools to work with, anybody can get that hands-on experience and that completely changes the whole field.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what we do is we have a whole bunch of really cool toys. I always just call them toys, but some of them are like multi-$1,000 pieces of equipment.
Wow.
That people can come and learn with, and then also stuff that we can bring to other people so that they can learn how to do biology, electronics, 3D printing, all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you're into 3D printing. That's kind of an interesting field I've always wanted to check out. How's that coming along, 3D printing, by the way? Is it getting a lot better?
Yeah, no, I mean, the resolution is really awesome for us, because we do a lot of our hardware is salvage. It's like a brand new piece of like fancy science equipment can sometimes cost you up on like $30K.
Oh yeah.
But you can find, last year's, and by last year's I mean 20 years ago, model on eBay for $1,000. And maybe something doesn't work 100%, or, maybe you need to get in there and solder a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just need to 3D print a little piece. And so that's actually what the 3D printer is mostly for repairs. We haven't had to use it a lot. So sometimes we just goof off with it, but, that's the kind of the purpose of the thing.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen that used a lot, utilized in that way with a lot of people too. It's great for replacing those little parts that are sometimes hard to find. What would you say
one strange little plastic thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What would you say your most high tech piece of equipment is, and what does it do? If you can explain it to us, some of us.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, even the whole concept of something being high tech really has to do with your background.
Yeah, right.
So I've got this vertical laminar flow hood,
Whoa.
which is basically, sounds totally fancy and awesome, and costs a pretty penny, and it's really freaking heavy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's basically just a really, really super fancy HEPA filter and a bunch of blowers and a box.
Yeah.
And a lot of these other things are like that, like a mammalian cell incubator. Wow, that sounds cool. It's like totally a box with a CO2 tank and like a heater in it. And this is actually one of the things that we talk about a lot, which is that, all of these fancy tools are really they're just tools.
Right.
And so once you know how to use them, the concept of high tech kind of floats away, and you're just like, it's really just a science easy bake oven.
I could see that.
So we have an electroparator. You know what? I built a gene gun.
A gene gun. Whoa, that sounds good.
So a gene gun is basically an airsoft rifle for genes.
And we're talking not like Levi jeans. We're talking like cellular jeans.
So genes with a G.
Okay.
And so basically what it is that you have, again, literally just a bunch of pieces of plumbing that acts like an airsoft rifle. Okay. Your bullets, instead of being lead, are tiny, tiny pieces of tungsten. Wow. And they are coated in genetic material, and then you shoot them into a cell. And you do it with a CO2 cartridge.
Wow.
What? Yeah, so that's high tech, but I also built it for $100.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome high tech right there. That's the high tech we all want. Low cost.
Yeah. I guess the most high tech thing would actually be the genetics that we have.
Yeah.
Because we have a whole bunch of gene constructs and biological materials and everything else in the world. All of the tech that we use, we made ourselves. Okay. But we really barely know how genetics work. And so that's the highest tech because we have no idea what's going on, except for the small niche that we've carved out for doing the work that we do.
Yeah. What is that gene gun you mentioned? What was the purpose of that for?
Well, one was just to make the gene gun because it cost like $5,000.
So there is a tool, and you just
and now I have a tool.
Version.
Yeah, and anybody else can build it. The instructions are online. It's totally available. I think we made a video about it on our YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then the other thing is that it is actually a very effective way of getting genetic material into cells. And once you put genetic material into cells, you can transform the cells, and you can make the cells do other things.
Oh.
So it's a useful tool.
Yeah, definitely.
Making things just to make things is kind of meh. Making useful tools is fun.
Awesome. Yeah, especially if you can make them for like $4,000 cheaper, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I mentioned this to the people that are tuning in, but you had become pretty renowned for your work. Well, I don't know if it was your work, but was that your work where you had eye drops that were supposed to give you Riddick-type vision or night vision? Was that yours?
Yeah, but it didn't. Well, okay, so that's the thing. It was actually a collection of other people's work that came together in a prototype.
Okay.
There were some really amazing researchers, and then this patent that nobody cared about, and then months and months, literally half a year of research.
So the concept was eye drops that you put in your eyes that would give you higher vision at night, kind of like we see in the movie The Riddick, right?
Not like the movie, actually. So that was the thing. After all this research, we're just like, all right, well, okay, we're going to test it out. And it was more like the difference between a moonlit night and not a moonlit night.
Yeah.
Which is great, because I hate tripping over stuff.
Yeah. Me too.
But
Stubbing
definitely not a superpower.
Yeah. But it was still kind of enhanced it right at night, huh? It's still noticeable.
That was the whole. What bugs me the most is actually that we wanted to keep going on the project, and we never got enough. We got a lot of interest, but we never got enough funding to test it properly. So we have a bunch of data, which from a scientific background is useless. It's like cool and promising, but not actually like, oh, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to take that next step. We never really got there.
Yeah. Is there any way you could describe for us in layman's terms how that worked? Or maybe a way, like, explain like I'm 5 type thing, like Reddit does.
Yeah. So there's this molecule. It's a chlorophyll analog. So chlorophyll is like the thing that makes the leaf green.
Yeah.
Hey, you said explain like a 5 man.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And in deep sea fish, it ends up in their eyes, binding with one of their own molecules, like their internalized molecules, and creating a construct that takes light coming in and alters the frequency so that the light that they wouldn't it's like, it's not like the light that you can't see doesn't go into your eye. It's just that you don't.
In, right? Yeah.
You just don't pick it up. And so this changes the frequency so that you can.
Yeah, kind of like
pick it up. So
that
cameras
or infrared displays in a way.
Yeah, exactly. It alters it, and so.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that came from just a collection of research that was done. You guys kind of put that together and made that happen.
Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, that would be pretty neat if it came out like the movie. Man, if you could really make some awesome night vision drops, I would be interested. Did it hurt at all?
Well, were actually no. It just went in and we used insulin to alter. Basically, insulin acted as a key to unlock the cells so that they could absorb the molecule.
Oh, okay.
I guess is the best way to put that. And so we had this combination of different things, and you put it in, and it just went in. And then we waited, and then we goofed off. And this is the whole thing. It's like we were actually just goofing off at the time. We had no idea that somebody was going to post a picture on Facebook, and that was how everything started. Everybody sees that picture.
It's the one with you with black eyes, right? That's the one I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, that's kind of how some things happen, right? I mean, sometimes even some discoveries are made just from goofing off, so nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
It'll only be a discovery if we get more data.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of data did you guys get from that? I guess it was kind of goofing off.
That's the thing. We got like subjective data.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Objective.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just basically got like, it was like, can we see this thing? How about you? Because we had a bunch of friends there, and some people were like, yeah, I can't see this, and I was like, how can you not see this thing? And so it was this kind of, it was very casual. It wasn't extremely rigorous at all. We kind of did can you tell the difference between a human and a bush? Which is actually kind of useful.
Yeah.
But what we really wanted was to get a hold of a nice ERG, which is like an electroretinograph.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what an EEG is, right?
Is it like for your heart or something? Measure your heart?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So this is like that, but instead of for your heart, it's for your eyeball.
Wow.
And so it measures the electrical activation in your eye. So if your eye takes in and responds to something, you get a bip on the meter, right? And so that's completely outside of you being like, oh, I totally saw something, or I don't see anything at all.
Right.
Instead, it's the electrical activity, and that's independent of anything that you could possibly say.
Right.
And that's like the good data right there.
Yeah.
You know, you need that data that is not human focused.
Yeah, and you had said it was noticeable between possibly a night that wasn't moonlit to a night that was. Was it noticeable on that monitor, on that piece of observation equipment?
This is the problem. We never got the observation equipment.
Oh.
Everybody got really, really excited, but nobody supported the project.
Wow.
And so we never got that final data. And so it's like, 4 years later, and I'm still like, I just need that final data.
And I imagine that's not a piece of equipment like the gene gun you could make for cheaper.
We tried.
Yeah.
We tried, but it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
So, just getting access to a little bit of professional equipment is important. And this is the thing about this whole concept of open tools and open information.
Yeah.
Is that like, this is the difference between a bazillion news articles where people just get really, really excited about something that has very little data, and actually having good data and a real reason to be excited.
Right. And that's kind of something you mentioned to me earlier, which we'll go ahead and say now, is that SciHouse Inc. is they are they the ones that have opened a laboratory, like you said? Do you want to tell us about that? That's not one laboratory in the country that's not owned by a corporation or a.
Yeah, no. So SciHouse, we're down here in Jacksonville, Florida, and we've got a laboratory, and most of the work that we've been doing has been mammalian cell work. When we're not teaching, we're doing research, and the research has been on mammalian cells. And bacterial cells they're really robust. I can teach you how to make a bacterial cell laboratory in your kitchen in like a weekend. We could just get that all set up.
Wow.
Get Amazon Prime or something. We could just you could be genetically engineering bacteria by Monday morning.
Man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm that fast.
No, man. Remember, it's all about just the comfort with tools. The magic goes away, and then you're like, oh, this is my science crowbar. And so, mammalian cells, on the other hand, you're a mammal, right?
Right.
And your cells, yeah, mostly we're pretty sure about this, right? Most of your cells, if not all of your cells, are inside of your mammalian skin bag, and they have access to, an immune system and a whole support system of other wonderful things. Unlike bacteria, which are just like covering every surface, and so they're really robust.
Yeah.
Once you get inside of a human, they're not that robust, and so you require that entire support system. And so when you're growing cells in a petri dish in a laboratory, and they're not inside of a skin bag and they don't have an immune system, they're very, very fragile.
Yeah, right.
And so you have to basically have a technical ecosystem that makes up for the physical ecosystem that you already have.
Okay.
And so this type of lab is kind of a step above or step sideways, however you want to put it, from a bacterial lab in terms of really weird, ridiculous hardware that do highly specialized things. Okay. And so we're actually the only, as far as I know, the only mammalian cell laboratory in the country that's not owned by a university or a corporation.
Okay, and why would that be an important thing? Is that the open source of it, so to speak? Would that
be absolutely.
Yeah, because corporations and education.
Yeah, because if you're like, hey, large corporation, I would like to learn more about this, and they're like, well, you don't have, you're not a business. You don't have any money. We don't care about you. Or, hey, university, and they're like, well, you can come and join our classes.
Yeah. I see that. I see your point.
Yeah, and why is it important? Well, it's a mammalian cell laboratory, and you're a mammal. So being able to understand how those things work is pretty cool and useful.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and to have access to that would be, I would never think that I haven't ever gone to a corporation or an educational institution saying, hey, can I borrow laboratory equipment, or hey, but I could imagine that there are people out there that want to do that kind of thing. And like you said,
yeah, totally.
They probably run into roadblocks all the time, I'm sure. So
yeah,
this is kind of a good thing, definitely, for education, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, we're a maker space, and we're a biohacking space, and we're a nonprofit. So if you come to our lab and you're like, hey, I would like to learn about this thing, as long as you can follow the please don't touch things because they might contaminate you or you might contaminate them rules, you're more than welcome.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You just mentioned biohacking. That's a cool term there. Could you give us a little more information on what that means?
Yeah, that is the big thing that everybody's. I mean, I guess technically, if you ask somebody what my professional title was, that would be my title.
I like that. That's awesome. Biohacking.
It just sounds really good.
Heck
it's
yeah.
just
like the James Bond of biohack. Or no, I got that wrong.
So there's actually a couple of different flavors of the biohacking.
Okay.
And there's been so much media attention lately about this thing.
Yeah, I think I've heard it a couple times already, that term.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to pop up a bit more. So you have one, which is what I generally call body hacking, which is they're like, this is like the Tim Ferriss stuff and the bulletproof coffee stuff, and I've got these glasses that block blue light that I put on when it's time to start getting ready for bed and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, all of this comes down to basically doing what your mom told you to do when you were a kid.
Right.
The whole eat a sandwich, exercise a little bit, have you considered turning off your screen and just going to bed?
Right.
Is not actually a hack.
Or just driving down the road with your screen off.
Yeah, this isn't actually hacking. This is just a rebranding of common sense and taking care of your body.
There you go.
When somebody's like, I found this amazing biohack for a diet, it's like, wow, is it eating?
Eat no sugar? Wow.
Is it not eating a bunch of sugar and maybe, like getting a good amount of vegetables in your diet?
Yeah.
That's not a biohack. That's just, stop being a turnip. So
you had mentioned bulletproof coffee, so I guess you're into the keto diet, huh? Or did you just?
No, I think so. So I'm gonna get to this because this is kind of a topic that comes up a little bit. And then you've got like if on the other end of the spectrum you've got your DIY biologists, what I call biohackers, and these are people doing gene work, and people that are doing like follistatin hacks to try to increase muscle mass and stuff like that. And so that's definitely altering the system to cause a benefit, and that's the true definition of hacking. But there's actually a bunch of intermediary stuff. So it's a sliding bar. So like keto is kind of actually a hack. There's papers that show that it causes mitochondrial neurogenesis.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was originally invented for epileptics.
Right, that's what I
so
heard.
you got like a bunch of and it's actually really, really great for getting rid of that fat.
It's not a really recommended diet, though, is it? Is it starting to become more accepted, though? I think, huh?
It's starting to become more accepted. You have to understand that the medical version of keto and anything that you could reasonably do in your house are totally not the same thing. Mm-hmm. And and then again, it all comes down to, like, sure, you're keto, and most hacks, especially biological hacks, are about getting to baseline. There are very few hacks that push you over baseline. And so if you go on to Reddit and you go to r/keto, these people are usually post their weights, and they're usually chopping off big chunks of an already large chunk of weight.
Yeah, a lot of good before and after photos on that subreddit. Man,
a lot of really awesome,
changed their lives.
Yeah, but then you got type 2 diabetics that are working on that stuff, doing that, but you don't actually you don't have a whole lot of getting you in. It's not making you superhuman or anything like that.
Right,
it's just like I've figured out how to be healthy.
I figured out how to lose all this fat I got from eating glazed donuts and Cinnabons.
Exactly. So you've been to Florida.
Yes.
But then there's other cool things like cold thermogenesis. Cold thermogenesis is a really cool hack.
Okay.
And so you've got two types of fat. You've got white adipose tissue and brown adipose tissue. And And white adipose tissue is your like fatty fat, your bad fat.
Right.
And brown adipose tissue is your good fat. And when you're really cold, your brown adipose tissue creates an enzyme that breaks down your white adipose tissue, because the whole point of fat is to create energy, and creating energy creates heat.
Right. Is this like those cryo chambers they're making now?
Cryo chambers are a totally different thing.
Well, I mean, like the chambers where you go inside that are like really cold and people do it.
Yeah, no,
physical
that's
fitness.
a different thing.
Okay.
Different thing. Yeah, no, this is more about like people taking ice baths and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, baseline hack.
Yeah, definitely.
No, the cryo chambers are about the fact that the freeze rate of fat is different than the freeze rate of the muscle surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can freeze the fat faster. So you can do these concentrated bursts of cold and break the fat by like freezing it and actually destroy the fat cells.
Whoa.
As opposed to just depleting them.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch of, and so this is all on the sliding scale of body hack, biohack type of stuff. And then you've got the grinders.
The grinders. Are
yeah,
those the guys
these are
that
like,
are working behind the scenes, busting
no,
butt?
No, it's literally, it's like it's a term for, they're basically biohackers that are kind of hardware happy. Okay. So, this is a magnet implant, RFID implant, maybe a big chip implant, people who want to become cyborg type of things. And
that kind of thing.
That kind of thing.
Do you know about Magic Leap by any chance? Since you're down there in Florida.
I mean, only a little.
Yeah. I know they're kind of doing some stuff down there and haven't said much. I thought maybe you'd be in.
Yeah, no, it's great. They're really quiet. I like that. I think it's responsible. I think it's a responsible thing to do.
Yeah. In case anybody's listening and doesn't know what Magic Leap is, it's supposed to be like augmented reality, something like that, right? Some kind of headset or glasses. That's pretty interesting, but they're really quiet, kind of secretive. Be interesting.
Well, which is good. I think that actually the excessive trumpeting of, oh, hey, we're going to do this, or look at this thing that we're maybe possibly going to do before we fail forward is it just it also creates a culture of hero worship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
and what we need are not one or two people that will remain unnamed that are going to like take us to Mars. Is what we need is an entire group of people, the whole society of people that all have abilities.
Yeah. We
don't need special people to take us to a place. We need to be empowered ourselves.
Right. Now you had said something about creating organisms that are meant to eat plastic, and this is going to be oceans that to eat the plastic. Obviously, we've heard of plastic bags and giant bundles out there floating around. Obviously, we've seen the pictures.
The Pacific garbage patch, man.
Yeah.
It's the size of Texas or bigger.
Dang.
Yeah.
Man, floating fortress.
You're in Texas, right?
No, I'm up north, but it's the size of Texas, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's garbage patch. And so, of course, if you go and look, it's not like you could walk on it, but it's a lot of garbage, and it's all kind of collected in one spot.
Dang.
And it's definitely a huge issue.
Yeah.
So one of the
Texas, it's biggish.
Biggish, totally biggish.
Whereabouts is it? In the Pacific, you said?
Yeah, it's the Pacific garbage patch.
Wow.
So it's big enough that if you Google that, you can see this. You'll see this giant blob.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up. Pacific garbage patch. Pull it up for you guys here on the stream. There it is. Look at that guy. Is that it? Oh, man. Yeah, so it looks pretty bad. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Oh, my gosh, look at that.
Yeah, it's not... it's kind of a problem.
Yeah, definitely. So this you said it was like an organism or something that you...
Right, so one of the things that we've been working on is... so there's this plastic-eating fungus. Mm-hmm. And we've been basically modifying this fungus through what's called directed evolution.
Okay.
So directed evolution is different than genetic engineering. It's more like, I guess, what we do, dogs.
Okay, so kind of like dogs, you mean like breeding in a way? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the fungus, by the way, is called P. microspora, for anyone who's interested.
Okay.
And so directed evolution is you basically put the fungus in a jar, and then you slowly alter its environment until it's comfortable with the new environment. And so for this project, it's about making this fungus that eats plastic comfortable being in salt water.
Okay.
So we just start off with a normal, happy, plastic-eating fungus floating in water. It's currently living on some styrofoam that I threw in there. And then, and then every once in a while I add salt water until we increase the concentration enough that it's the same concentration as the ocean. Now, you're always going to have a little bit of a die-off, but the things that survive have basically maintained some sort of gene that allows them to survive in that particular type of environment. They pass it on to their offspring, and at the end of the day, you get something that is different. And I'm sure you noticed that I'm very excited about data, and I think it's really important to have good data so that you don't just say, and then I did a thing, and then everybody gets really, really excited, and then nothing ever happens.
A lot of hype man stuff out there.
Yeah, and I'm actually not a fan. It's just kind of a side effect.
I don't think anybody really is. We just kind of get tricked by it every once in a while.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is after we've got this fungus up to ocean-level plastic eating, we're going to send a piece of it off to another laboratory, and they're going to sequence it, and they're going to see if it's genetically different. And if it's not genetically different, that means one of two things. It means I just wasted a whole bunch of time, and I could have just thrown the fungus in the ocean. And if that was the case, why isn't this already happening? Right. Or it means it is genetically different, and holy crap, we created a new species that can live in the ocean and eat plastic.
Wow. That would be amazing. I think that would get you beyond the night vision drops. You'd be...
Yeah, I hope we can move on from that.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's really cool. So you said you're in this phase right now of this organism?
We're about halfway there.
Okay.
It really doesn't seem to care at all that I keep pouring salt water on it, so we're just going to keep going and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then we're actually doing another project, kind of another big project that I'm really, really excited about.
Oh man, tell us.
And this is about reforestation, or actually, the technical term is afforestation. So reforestation is about putting trees where trees used to be. Afforestation is about putting trees where there didn't used to be a forest.
Okay.
And so, like when people talk about desertification, they're like, "Here's a desert." It's like, this is definitely not a forest.
Right. So you're talking about afforestation is trying to build or produce a new forest in a place where there wasn't a forest currently or probably before?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there could have been one before, but,
right, a long time ago.
You know, maybe 400 years ago or something.
Right.
Before we cut it down. And so this involves two pieces of technology. One of them is called the Miyawaki method. And so this is an old school hack, and it's totally cool. It's a planting method that was developed in the 60s by, of course, a guy named Miyawaki. And this had to do about high density planting. So when we plant trees, we plant them in rows and we give them space, right?
Right.
Because we're like, we want the tree to grow as big as possible because that gives it the most space, to have the most light, et cetera, et cetera. But an oak tree doesn't do that. An oak tree just takes a crap ton of acorns and just dumps them on the ground.
Yeah, all over the place, yeah.
Battle Royale. And so this is how these plants have evolved. They've evolved to grow in that type of way.
Right.
And so with the Miyawaki method, they showed with a lot of journal papers and a bunch of real life evidence that if you take a bunch of trees, a bunch of different types of trees, and you can't plant them close together, you actually accelerate the growth of the trees. So, like when you're on Facebook and you're like, you see this post that's like, dude in Pakistan grew a forest in this empty parking lot in 6 months.
Oh.
Have you ever seen something like that?
No, I haven't.
Like,
of course, I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I mean, no,
well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm around on Reddit and stuff.
Feed.
Yeah, I'm around. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Miyawaki method, and this is constantly being used. People are kind of nuts about it right now, actually. And so you can take a place that has no trees in it, and you can get trees that are 3 meters tall. So for you Americans, that's like a little over 9 feet. In 6 months.
Wow. Now,
okay, that's just with planting methods. That's not with anything else. That's just planting methods. So that's the baseline right there.
What about like water and things like that? Would it have to be in?
But definitely, you need to take care of your plants for the first couple of months, get them established. But then they build their, microenvironments, and they do pretty well on their own.
Wow.
So on top of that, there's some genetic engineering technology that's been used by the lumber industry and the sugarcane industry to increase their yields.
Okay.
And so there's these
do they make them grow faster? Grow faster?
And bigger.
Bigger, okay. Yeah. Probably
faster
like the chickens.
And bigger.
Probably like what they do to the chickens, too, I'm sure.
I mean, not the same genes, definitely, but
definitely.
conceptually, I get where you're coming from.
Right. Yeah.
So there's this. So if you take the I'm going to grow plants twice as fast, twice as big using genetics, and I'm going to use this cool hippie method developed in the 60s to grow big forests, and you put them together, the theory is that you get really big forests really fast. And that is kind of something that we really need right now.
Definitely. It would be great.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the plains. I'm in the plains. It would be nice to see some more forests out here too. So, but yeah, definitely. They say that one of the largest issues with climate change, the second reason, anyways, that I've read is deforestation. That we're just, we need receipts and we need paper and we need toilet paper, all that stuff. I mean, well, we try our best with recycling, but deforestation is definitely a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this method combined could really sprout some stuff up pretty quick.
That's the whole concept.
That is awesome.
It's like, okay, here's a bunch of areas that we broke. We're really good at setting things on fire. We're not so great at growing things fast.
Well, how would that
things down real fast?
How would that work out with I've been to places in Colorado and I've seen whole sections completely look like they've been burned. but it's this invasive species of beetle or something that has killed all the trees.
Oh, yeah.
Would that help in this situation?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that.
That's something to be seen, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's the responsible way to answer that question. It's
right.
just like, I don't actually know, but yeah, totally. Change the plants, change the situation.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's worth a shot. I'm sure some of those places are just devastated either by forest fires or the beetles. I mean, we're seeing many fires now, even just this year. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is I think like the take home. It's like you're like, well, it's worth a shot. And yeah, it's totally worth a shot. We've been selectively breeding and killing species for like the entirety of human history.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could do something good for the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be all for more forests.
We're pretty boned right now, so.
Yeah. So are you guys going to try this out somewhere, or have you had a place? Is there?
So this is primary research. We've got a room in the lab. We're building up some first prototypes now. Releasing genetically modified species into the world is totally against the rules unless you have lots and lots of corporate money.
Oh, yeah. I'm
so,
sure.
However, telling people how to do this cool thing, if it works, is not illegal. So we might just share.
Kind of just drop it, huh? Just drop it out there for everyone. And
yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's the one thing, too. You're down in Florida. When I went down to Florida, It was like, I was so surprised at all the logging they were doing down there. I didn't imagine Florida as being a place where they do logging. But yeah, they got a lot of forests down there and stuff. But yeah, that's cool.
I mean, like, the Everglades is not a park. The Everglades is a delineation of ecosystem.
Right.
A lot more of Florida used to be Everglades. And so, like, especially with the increase in storms that we're seeing, Florida is looking very likely to be underwater. And trees and seagrass and all these other plants, the entire ecosystem basically acted as a storm barrier.
Yeah.
It not only absorbed the brunt physical effect of the storm, but then when the water comes, water usually just kind of goes in one direction. But if you have a bunch of trees, like if you think about this, trees move water in a way that water doesn't normally move.
Right.
It moves water up out of the ground.
It's kind of like a sponge in a way almost.
Yeah, and so it moves it into what we would call a verticality. And so it moves it up into the ground and down into the roots, and it absorbs the water, it blocks the water, it does something with the water other than,
right,
causing cholera.
Yeah. So in your research with this project, have you seen any good results so far, or is it still really preliminary?
This is really preliminary. I would say that it looks promising in as much as that there's a huge amount of previous research that backs it up.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of taking things that other people have done, again, like the odd drops, taking a combination of things that other people have done and putting it together in something that you wouldn't normally do if you were working in an office. Right,
right. Well, that's great. I mean, that's really what we do a lot in life sometimes, I mean, if you look at like Elon Musk, he made the Tesla. Well, he probably used a lot of different ideas from automobile manufacturers and all kinds of things just to combine them all to make something that was, a need, really.
Yeah.
I mean, people are buying it, so it's obviously a need, but I think I would definitely love to see more forests, that's for sure. Or I wish I could sprout one up in my backyard. That'd be great.
Well, I mean, so that's the thing. The technology should work with anything that has a cell wall. So, for those of you who don't have a science background, this means all the plants.
Okay. So,
some places don't need to be forest. Some places should be grasslands. Some places should just be moss and ferns. But if you can accelerate all of that, like, we need to see more of everything. We don't need to see more of just the one thing that makes us happy.
Mm-hmm.
We need to see more of a proliferation of systems that support the world.
Yeah. Like more Walmarts? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No, definitely not. There's too many of those. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so this would be primarily used in situations where we've already tore it all down or something's torn it down. Maybe it's an invasive species or a forest fire that was started by us, or, you know, the storm or whatever.
Big, empty, dead lot that used to be a Walmart.
Right, or that. Yeah, exactly. That's
I mean, I'm in Jacksonville,
and
this city is like, I don't know, 80% ghetto. And no, I'm not kidding, man.
Is it
and
really?
It's filled with, it's filled with dead moles. There's empty lots all over the place.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And so, you know.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could just fill them all with this and just grow some forest right there or whatever, some foliage.
Yeah.
They'd look a lot prettier than an empty lot. Definitely.
And do a lot more good.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, think about the parks you could sprout up just on empty lots that look terrible, you know, that aren't doing any good, basically. So, yeah, I could see that. Well, I wish you good luck on that. I hope you guys really do good on all that. Definitely that project. Actually, your other projects are great, too. I like the plastic eating one. Because I don't think the last time I've looked at these pictures of the garbage patch, man, it is big.
It's real big.
Dude, they are showing like an orbit this thing makes out there in the Pacific Ocean. It's like, it's almost its own ecosystem now. It's like,
it is, actually. In fact, they've discovered new bacteria that didn't exist before that make their homes in, like, your discarded shampoo bottles and stuff like that. Yeah, so there's a whole new world living in your garbage out there. But
just adapting.
But slowly.
Right.
Yeah, you know, and I feel like genetic engineering is a tool. You can, like a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
You can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use a hammer to bonk somebody in the head.
Right.
And so we've been pretty good at bonking things in the head with our use of genetic engineering, our hammer. But we haven't done a lot of giving back. It's kind of been a take kind of situation.
It's been a
and I think we've definitely put ourselves in an awkward position where, you know, we might all die in a fiery flood inferno. So, you know,
it's great to see.
It behooves us to kind of work in a positive way.
And we see that a lot in life and in the world and societies. A lot of selfishness, you know, a lot of number one, and, you know, and people not thinking about the environment. I've seen people throw out bags of garbage, and it's just like, man, can't you take it to the garbage pail?
I live in a not particularly wealthy neighborhood because I keep spending all my money on lab supplies, and yeah, we've got like a place near a light post where all the neighbors just kind of throw their trash.
Yeah, well, I've seen them
on the ground, like
total
just
big
on the ground
out the door of the car going down the interstate, like giant trash bags. It's like, really? Wow. Yeah, it's a shame. So, well, this is so good of what you guys are doing. We're going to take a break here and play a little music, but I wanted to thank you so much, Gabriel, for coming on, man, and telling us about this. And you guys out there that want to check it out more, their website is scihouse.space. And Gabriel, I really hope you guys succeed at this because it sounds awesome.
Ooh, wait. if they go to the website, the project for the trees is called Ents.
Oh,
like Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And there's a button, and you can sign up for a mailing list, and you will get weekly emails, like updated every week about the work that we're doing.
Oh, great!
Including all the instructions, the shopping list, everything.
Awesome, man! I'm going to sign up.
Complete openness. Yeah,
I'm signing up. Yeah, it's great. I'm going to try to spread the word for you guys, and you guys out there listening, if you find this interesting and something that is worthwhile, you should definitely spread it. I think we need more of this kind of thing you guys are doing. So, thanks, man. Thanks to you and the whole Sci House team.
Hey, we appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. Hey, sorry for keeping you up so late, but we appreciate you being on the show, man.
Oh, we're in. It was a pleasure talking with you.
All right. Okay, Gabriel, you take care, brother.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, guys, that was Gabriel with SciHouse.com, or I'm sorry, SciHouse.space. Make sure to go over there and check out his website. Sign up to the newsletter if you want to learn more things, and try to spread the word. Share that good information he's putting out there. You guys need to call in. Who's calling in? Who's the guy I seen talking here? What's your name? Jack Burton. I want you to call in. I'm going to put the number on the screen, and you guys are going to call in. Whoever gets through, I only got one line, so whoever's getting through is getting through. But I'm going to go ahead and play some music. This is actually a emerging artist we're going to feature, so we're going to go ahead and play that, and then I will take one of your calls. So call in. We're going to switch over here to the number. I'm going to put the number up on the screen. Okay. So our emerging artist of the week is a very talented woman by the name of Yvette Nelson, and you can find her on Facebook or Reverb Nation under the Wanderamas. And we have links to those social media sites on our website at hiddenpathpodcast.com if you'd like to find out more information. I had a chance to speak with her earlier. Check this out. A little talk with you. I want to ask you, what's your what drives you? What is your prime motivation for the music you create?
Probably hardship in life.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's life, and we find that a lot in music.
Yeah, we do.
How long have you been singing? Because I got to say, you sound like a pro.
Well, I've been singing all my life, but I haven't been writing music or playing guitar all my life. I didn't even know I could play or write until after I was in my 40s.
Oh, okay. A lot of the music in there sounds really good. It sounds like something you'd hear, every day on the radio. Do you do a lot of it yourself? All the mixing and stuff? No,
I don't. I used a producer by the name of Casey Smith, which I'm sure you've heard of before. Or you may have.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Okay. And he was a local guitar teacher and producer, and he agreed to take on my music. So he helped me with those songs that you have now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they sound great. It's great. And you play the guitar also, huh?
I play rhythm guitar, but Casey did play the guitar in these songs.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay.
So I did have outside musicians help me with the production of these particular songs.
Yeah.
Just because I had a band and was trying to get a different sound, and so this is what came out of it, and this is what I have.
Yeah. So. Well, like I said, it sounds great, and we're happy to play it, and we appreciate you so much. We'll be playing it tonight for you.
Well, thanks.
You betcha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, good night.
You too, Yvette. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
Too many lies, too many eyes, confused about life, and I'm dying inside. Too many ways for too many ways. I'm living afraid and swollen with shame. Hey! and to be liked. Too many days I chose their ways. Now I am tired and I'm running away. I need a new life. I'm on my knees. Rescue me. I need a new life. I'm on my knees. Rescue me. I need a new life. I'm on my knees. Rescue me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got Renaissance Ted on the line. What's up, Ted? How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. How's the show going so far today?
Oh, man, we talked to Gabriel. He was loving all the tech he was into and the research he's been doing. Oh, man, it's so fascinating. I mean, I was loving it. Some of the stuff he's into is crazy, this biohacking stuff. Crazy stuff. We got into the garbage, the giant Pacific garbage patch that's floating around in the Pacific Ocean. Have you ever heard of that or seen it?
No, the garbage gyre. Yeah, I've heard of that before. And in fact, I think there was a teenager who came up with something called the manta that was actually it checked out really good experimentally to suck all that stuff up.
Oh, what's that? Like a giant vacuum?
No, as near as I can tell, it's almost like a self-propelling manta ray-like device that sucks plastic in, traps it, and just floats around out there.
Holy cow.
So I might have to look at it. I believe it was called the manta, but that's all I know about the garbage child, other than there's a lot of it. Yeah.
So are you ready to talk to the world and tell these people or myself what it is we talked about earlier, about the frequencies? Do you think you can go there, or you're not ready yet? We can talk about something else. I can pick your brain.
I think we can jump into that, and if anyone wants to grab a quick piece of notebook paper, and if you don't have a chance to grab one now, just grab one later.
Oh, gosh. I don't even have one.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the beauty of the Internet. It's recorded for everyone to hear, and they can catch it next time,
Yeah.
What I was going to talk about was the answer to the riddle of life, the universe, and everything. If you've ever followed Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they talked about 42 being the answer, and then they had to figure out the question, but they had a couple of problems with that. But the answer was 42, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, right. The answer, they had built that big computer, and the answer was 42.
Yeah, and I heard John Cleese talking about it one time, and they asked, why did you pick 42? And he said, well, it's just a funny number. It's the funniest number. It sounds funny. However, I'm going to say that they're pretty close to reality, because the real answer to life, the universe, and everything is for 32, not 42.
32. That's interesting.
32.
That's like level right below the highest level of Freemasonry, right?
Oh, no, I'm talking 432.
Oh, 432. My bad.
Yeah,
that's way beyond that.
Yeah. So, I mean, 432, hey, you know what it is? It's a resonant frequency. It's A above high C in Pythagorean tuning, which has been the way we tuned our instruments for the last couple of thousand years until just the last century.
Right.
And now they've changed it all to 440. If you look on your little guitar tuner, it's up there. It says 440, right?
Right.
I'd invite all you musicians to hit the calibrate number on the calibration arrow on your little tuner, and just push that down about 8 times and get yourself to 432. Mm-hmm. And that is the resonant structure of the universe.
Wow. So they've definitely changed a lot, we've noticed, in society, it seems like. Do you think the reason that's been changed, or maybe we don't know the resonant frequency of the universe? You think that unlocks something?
We all know it. It's inside of all of us, and I would say that let's take some of our favorite mad scientists from the last century, our towering figures like Nikola Tesla or Henry Morey or John Keeley. Some of these greats that just did crazy stuff with electronics and mechanics, and shockwave technology and everything that we just don't see it anymore, you know?
Yeah,
So I was thinking, what the heck are they doing? What did they learn? How did they go to school? Why is it that they went to school and they got so much out of it, and we all go to school and we're just not getting it anymore? And
I know.
we can thank Mr. Friedrich Hegel and Thomas Dewey here in America, because they changed up our entire school system in the early 1900s. So nobody was learning the foundational, actual, classic, liberal arts by definition training system anymore that had been in use for 2,000 years, that led us to the point where we were producing people like Tesla and Keeley.
Right.
And so,
some of these people just seem really gifted too. Like every once in a while, we'll get a person that shows up that's just super gifted, talented, and then they end up getting taken out of the history books.
Exactly, and you know what? I mean, there might be gifted, talented people, but if you teach them all wrong,
right? Yeah,
it might turn out that maybe they don't develop that gift. Like, let's take our classical liberal arts education, right? So the classic liberal arts education is the trivium method, which is, you know, grammar, logic, and rhetoric. That's your foundation, right? You collect your facts, you apply logic to get your facts straight and to develop a conclusion, and then you communicate your conclusion to other people so they can check you and bring up an argumentation to it.
Right.
Okay, there's 7 parts to that. That's only 3 parts. The other 4 parts, the last half of the classic liberal education, is mathematics, geometry, music, and astronomy. And this relates to that 432 God frequency that is suffusing our planet, our universe, and everything around us. So mathematics is number, right? That's just number. Now geometry, that's number in space.
Right, yeah.
Music is number in time.
Okay,
and
so rhythm, right, yeah.
And astronomy is number in space and time.
Astronomy,
so
yeah.
Let's wrap this back around to 432. Say you're learning mathematics, right? Okay, great. You learn to add, subtract, divide, your basic mathematics and so forth. Then you start applying geometry, right? Well, that's your triangle, your square, your circle, your pentagon, et cetera, et cetera. Now pay very close attention to the number of angles, because the Sumerians in early history said that the sky gods came down and gave them the base 1260 counting system, which you'll see this played out, 12 eggs in a dozen, 12 inches in a foot. Foot and miles are very important. I'd like to invite everybody to throw out your meter stick and only keep the base 12 system, because that's the system that resonates with everything else.
Are you saying the metric system no, and the American system yes?
Absolutely. Our oldest foundational system of measure is the 1260 base system, based on the English foot in our modern times here.
Wow.
But let's just put it this way. Say you go to the Great Pyramid, right?
Right.
And you take the height of the Great Pyramid, you multiply that by 43,200. You get the exact polar circumference in miles of the planet Earth. You take the base measure of the Great Pyramid, multiply that by 43,200. Remember the 432, just drop those 2 zeros, it's all resonant.
Yes, we got Lymerick in the chat. He just said, yes, 432 hertz. He's loving it.
Absolutely. Now you multiply that base measure of the pyramid by 432, you get the equatorial circumference of the planet Earth. These guys, whoever built the pyramids, they knew darn well what they were doing when they built them. It's a resonant frequency situation.
Okay, so obviously, how do we get that? Can we tune our instruments to 432? We just change the tuners?
Yeah, just hit the calibrate number on your guitar tuner now, and drop it down 8 times, and you come to 432 instead of 440 on the tuners that are capable of doing that.
Wow, I wonder if I can do that to my piano.
You can tune your piano. I bet it's a little harder. You might have to have a piano tuner come on in. An electric piano, you can calibrate most of those.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be.
Now let's get back into geometry just a little bit, okay? So mathematics, geometry, music, and astronomy are the foundations of your liberal arts education from classical times, not our modern liberal arts education that includes like lesbian belly dance theory and subaquatic basket weaving and all the other stuff they throw in there, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to geometry, okay? And again, let's look at that 1260 base Sumerian counting system. And what that means is you take your right hand and hold up your four fingers, and you've got 12 knuckles, right? And you take your left hand, hold up all five. 5 times 12 is 60. That's what counting on your fingers is right there in the base 12 system, or in the 1260 Sumerian counting system. Now, let's start applying this a little bit. Let's apply it in terms of music, right? Because music is the resonance where everyone's going to start to see this. So let's just take geometry, and we get, the sum of the internal angles of a triangle, they always add up to 180 degrees, no matter what, right?
Right.
The sum of the internal angles of a square, they always add up to 360 degrees, right? And that continues on through all your geometric forms, right? So strangely enough, all of these geometric solids, number one, they're exact mirrors of the Fibonacci sequence, which describes the way a seashell spirals, or the way a galaxy spirals. They're all connected, right?
Right.
So if you want your galactic resonance chart, right, this is the mind of God. And if you've gotten your, and they all, by the way, say you place your 180 at 1, at 0 rather, the Fibonacci sequence is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13.
Right. Is that also the golden ratio, or is that a different thing? Maybe.
The golden ratio is really interesting too. If you've ever seen Vitruvian Man, the picture Leonardo da Vinci has, where there's the man with his arms and legs.
Like he's doing jumping jacks, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you look at carefully the proportions that Leonardo lays out there, the proportion is 1.61 to 1, which is your classic golden ratio, right?
Right.
Now square 1.61, what do you get? You get 2.592. Okay, well, gee, what the hell does 2.592 mean? Well, if you actually look at our great year, all 12 symbols of the zodiac, the entire precession of the equinoxes, it's 25,920 years.
Wow.
The same base number sequence as the square of the golden ratio, but add a 0, drop a decimal point, you're in there. It's all about resonance, man. It's all about resonance.
So you'd mentioned something. I'm going to actually give a shout out here to Lymerick. He's in here, and he said that if you watch what 432 hertz does to water, it's like a snowflake, but 440 is all jumbled.
And now if you tune your guitar to that 432, remember last week when we were talking about cymatics, C-Y-M-A-T-I-C-S, cymatics? That's
right.
Where you take your sound generator, you hitch it up to a speaker, throw a flat sheet of metal over it, and drop some sand on it, and hit different tones, right?
Right. Geometric shapes that look beautiful to us.
Yeah. Now, if you lay out a factor 9 grid based on 432, a factor 9 musical grid based with 432 at your A, you will find that every single one of those resonant frequencies that produces those pictures exactly corresponds to the number of degrees expressed as a frequency in the internal angles of geometric forms and geometric solids. The solid that appears corresponds to the frequency of the number of degrees in its internal angles, but only if you tune it to 432.
Wow.
Half of 432 is 216, right?
Yeah.
Okay, add a 0, 2160, the exact diameter in miles only, not in kilometers, not in cubits, in miles of our moon. Double 432, you get 864. Add a couple of zeros, 864,000. That is the exact number in miles of the diameter of our sun.
Wow.
Another interesting thing, 864,000. Hey, that's the number of seconds in a day. Tell me how this base 12, 560, 432 musical resonance cycle doesn't resonate, number one, from the bottom up all the way to the very bounds of the universe.
Wow. Man, that is a good point. You had mentioned earlier about, well, you mentioned to me about the pineal gland, that this could help activate it. What's your thoughts on that, or have you not hashed that out yet?
No, I've got a pretty good explanation for that. The pineal gland, right, and I'm not sure why 432 is the magical number for the pineal gland. I'm pretty sure at this point that it is, however. Now, if you take that 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 1321.
Fibonacci.
trying to add on the fly here. Look at the
That's
Fibonacci sequence, right?
Yeah.
That's a perfect series of thirds and fifths in music. If you put that together, it's an F sharp major chord. If you start with 180 at your 0, it's an F sharp major, right?
Right.
Now, let's go to where we first see the pineal gland appearing in history, right? It's
Yeah.
on the murals on the walls in Sumeria, where they had the giant god king holding the pine cone, whose exact architecture is described by the Fibonacci sequence, which also exactly describes the spiraling architecture of the construction of our pineal gland. Now let's look
Yes.
let's look at the reigns of the kings, right? The first 3 kings in Sumeria. They said those kings reigned, the first one reigned for 28,800 years. The second king reigned for 36,000 years. The third king reigned for 43,200 years. Drop the zeros. All right. Now, is that the God chord that activates the pineal gland?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder. I mean, it would have to be because we have a video on the screen here of a pine cone that was, they explain Fibonacci sequence in nature. The pine cone is one of those examples, and we see that pine cone all over symbolically. So if the pineal gland is like that in that structure also, so this kind of frequency, would you think it would help activate it? Or maybe it's not being used right now because we're so out of harmony.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's so much talk about the activating the pineal gland, meditating, et cetera, et cetera. The 440, there's an interesting story with that. I was at this show one time where a bunch of bands were playing and cross-pollinating. Their guys were all up on stage together and stuff like that. They had some pretty hot players that day.
Yeah.
And there was this little old black man, looked like he was as old as the hills. And they got a group of players up there, including a couple of the hotter guitar players, and he was a guitar player too.
Right.
And he looked over at him and he said, I think he was playing Sweet Home Chicago, and he said, how about we do this in A flat? He said, it just sounds a little bit better to me somehow. It just feels better. Well, A flat, gee, you drop 9 tones from 440 and you end up at 431, darn close to 432. That's the A flat that he said just feels better to play that way. And, the other guitar players who are accustomed not to playing an A flat, but playing an A, they picked up and caught it and stuff like that. But this little guy was pretty interesting because you could hear when they were dropping slightly out of it because they weren't used to playing in that key. He was bending his strings to pick up their tone.
Wow.
It was really cool to hear it. But,
Well, I wonder then if, since everything's gone digital, right? We've gone from analog to digital, right? So everything's digital, everything comes through digitally, ones and zeros. I wonder if all our music, like even if I was to record some music and change it to 432, change my instruments, I wonder if they've still, if something, well, we could say if something nefarious had changed, some Illuminati or whatever had changed the frequency, then they would definitely have something to where we couldn't even access it digitally, but we have the ability to do it with our instruments, right? Why do you think they've changed it? If you believe that, or if you think it's just a symptom of us coming out of harmony as a society? Maybe that's just human nature.
No, they've definitely changed it. I can point to exactly 2 points in history where I can see that change having happened. One of them was in about 1905. I can't recall if it was Carnegie or Rockefeller, but there was a big charity event where they provided an entire ensemble of brass instruments to every town in America.
Wow.
Which is great. Sounds like awesome charity work, a little town band for every little town.
Heck yeah.
Well, previous to that, all the instruments and all the town bands, those that had them, were tuned to 432.
Wow.
However, Rockefeller or Carnegie, and I don't recall the name, I'm sorry about that, they provided instruments that were tuned to 440 to every little town in America. Now, brass instruments are just tuned the way they are tuned from the factory. You can't retune your brass instrument. So all the string instruments have to retune themselves to the brass instrument. So that was how America switched to 440. Now, in Britain, it was a little bit different. Actually, in 1938, the British Philharmonic actually hired Joseph Goebbels, our famous propaganda minister from Nazi Germany. I love throwing it's always great when you can throw a Nazi in there,
Well, they do that in all the new movies nowadays, so, whatever.
Exactly. Well, Joseph Goebbels was hired to convince the players in the London Philharmonic to switch all their tunings to 440 as their base frequency. That would be your A over middle C, which is what they use for their reference frequency.
Wow. Man. Crazy.
So,
Crazy. Have you tried this personally with an instrument, or is this something you just kind of stumbled upon?
oh, I haven't actually done it personally yet, but this actually has scientific data to back it up. Unlike some of these, you see these frequencies all over, like, ooh, the healing frequency, the God frequency, is this frequency, is that, right?
Or even, what's that called, where they use, is it binaural beats, stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one frequency that's got clinicals behind it, and that is 432.
Okay.
That's the only one that, and, when the clinicals were done on the 432 frequency, they came out as, the first day when everyone did it, they felt more aggravated. Now the second, third, fourth, fifth day, they all immediately had relief from their effects, which the effects they're experiencing in this clinical trial were depression, anxiety, the usual things that they would throw in antidepressants.
Could you explain some of the specifics of it? What was it? Were they just playing instruments or music at that frequency for people that were having symptoms of depression?
They were using tone generators to generate those frequencies for 30 minutes at a time. What they were was perfect thirds and fifths. You just using the 432 music matrix, right?
Right.
So so if you do a chord chart of all your chords, right? And this goes back to our piece of notebook paper. If you go up to the top left-hand corner, just go up to your top left on your notebook paper, and write the letter C, and then below that write C sharp, and then write D, and then write D sharp, and then write E, and then write F. There is no E sharp.
Right.
I wonder why that is. I'll have to look into that. Anyway, then you go to F sharp, and then G, and G sharp, and then A, right?
Right.
All right. Now, right next to that, right to the right-hand side of your C, just put the number 126. Okay?
Okay.
Now, go down your chart till you get to your A, right?
Mm-hmm.
At A, put 216. Now, as you go to the right across your God resonance chart, simply double the number going to the right. Okay?
You're going to have to tell me what we get, because I didn't have a pen. I wasn't able to do this. I'm sure some are
following. That's okay. This is capsulated forever, so I hope everyone understood exactly what I just said, right?
Okay.
And now, if you want to go up and down your chart, if you're going up your chart, or in other words, lower numerically, right? Because it's the increase going down, simply add or subtract 9 from each of those numbers to go up or down your chart, and double your numbers from the left to the right as you go across your chart. This gives you your God frequency chart. Every single number within that, right? Because you're starting with your base number sequences as denoted by Pythagorean tuning, which you derive mathematically from geometrics.
Whoa.
Now, the 432, right now, every single one of these major thirds and fifths, every one of them is a resonant frequency chord with the Fibonacci sequence given to us by Leonardo Fibonacci at 1202.
Right.
These frequencies will resonate your pineal gland.
Wow.
Screw all the rest of the frequencies. Now, go through this whole chart, anywhere in this chart. Just start picking numbers out of this chart. The bigger your piece of paper, the more numbers you get out. If you have a really, really big chart, you'll eventually find yourself at the square of 432, which is within 0.01% of the speed of light. 432 times 432 is 186,640 miles per second. Again, here we're at miles per second. English miles, seconds.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone try and make you go metric.
Well, they say the metric's a smarter system, though.
Well, I don't know. If you simply add the metric system, all this stuff, all the resonances disappear. Whereas otherwise, every resonance for all your 2- and 3-dimensional geometric solids, all of your very important frequencies for various types of healing, all of the astronomical measurements of the sun, the moon, the speed of light, all of them are encapsulated in this chart as a single whole representing. If you're an atheist, this is your universal sympathetic resonance chart of all being. If you're a churchgoer, this is the mind of God speaking to you. Hey, go talk to your pastor. Talk to him about changing changing the tuning on your church organ and piano to reflect your A over middle C at 432 instead of 440 like they show in all the tuners.
Wow. Man, I got to do this to my piano. We got a piano in the house. I'm going to try to find somebody that can tune pianos and get him to do this. But, yeah, that's fascinating because I've heard about this before, and I've also heard something about that the universe, you know, that the planets all have a certain sound to them, and it's almost like a symphony, right? Maybe not to our ears so much, but there is something with sound. It seems like, you know.
Yeah, let's go right back to Pythagoras, the guy who first created that musical God chart of all the resonances in the universe.
Yeah.
That exact same guy, he called it the music of the spheres.
Ooh.
That's what he called it, describing the dance of the planets like a ballet.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what he called it.
Wow. Yeah, and I think even like Tesla, you know, I had heard something once about Mark Twain. He was a good friend with Tesla, and he said he would go to Tesla's laboratory in New York City, and he would have devices that were resonating, and if you stood close to them, they would give you a feeling of euphoria. And that's never left my mind. In fact, I probably already said it before on the show, but that it's like, man, there's something there that we're missing. It seems like he knew what we're talking about. That there is.
Now yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, yeah. Now look at these people, these towering mad scientist giants from the last century, who were all taught the classic liberal arts education, which involved this chart of how all the resonances in the world fit together. Yeah. Instead of trying to digest completely unrelated bits and pieces of geometry and mathematics and music that are completely unrelated, and you had to memorize them and spit them back out, and it got so onerous. What if instead going to school was like simply exposing the enormous and magnificent wheelwork of nature? Like, what effect would that have had on you? To go through a school system like that, instead of this Pavlovian, ring the bell, stand up, sit down, line up, go to lunch, and let's go to recess. Oh, forgot. They took away recess. Now to burn off that sacred masculine energy in the boys, they just drug them into submission.
Yeah, it seems like, no more exercise too much, huh? Or art, or music and PE is physical education's kind of suffering, right? But of course,
exactly.
It's probably coming because you go to PE after art class, or not art class. You go to PE after music class, and all the musical instruments have pretty much drained your energy because we're so out of harmony. Everything's out of tune, and it's all on purpose. It seems like we do have a parasite in this world or something going on where we're just out of harmony, man. Something isn't vibing, right?
Hey, you're absolutely right, but we could reclaim that harmony starting right here, starting today. Hey, guitar players, rebel, retune your instrument. Just go ahead and hit that down arrow on the calibrate on your guitar tuner and drop your guitar to 432.
Man.
Make all the rest of the guys do it too, you know?
Let's do it. I wonder if there's a tuner. I've used tuner apps on my Android smartphone to tune the guitar. I wonder if they have one where I can drop the frequency. I bet they do, because I got a guitar. Really I'm going to try it.
Yeah, once in the past, I was at one of the disposals up by Stanley there, and I got along real good with the disposal operator.
Yeah.
And he was a guitar guy, too, and we were trying to retune. We were thinking, hey, let's retune this guitar to 432, right?
Right.
So he pulled out his iPhone, right? He had an iTuner on his iPhone, right? Or an Apple tuner. It was an app, right?
Yeah.
Guess what number was missing?
432.
Exactly. You could tune it to 435. You could turn it to 438. You could tune it to 421. You could turn it to, whatever.
Wow.
You couldn't tune it to 432. It wasn't in the app.
It's been censored. Censorship.
Exactly. And you know what? Imagine the effect it's having on our kids and our educational system to have all this disresonant, disharmonious information and music and everything flooded into everybody. And you know what? We know what to do with the educational system. It was already plotted out by Pythagoras. It's the classic liberal education. And if you look at the word, and you know what? Liberal's gotten a bad name now, but let's look at the word liberal. Mm-hmm. Library, liber, liberty. Right. The word liber, liberty, and the word for book in Latin are exactly the same. They said book was the same word as the word liberty.
Yeah.
Liber. And that's the basis of our liberal arts education, but only as filtered through the trivium method, followed by the quadrivium mathematics. and then geometry, which is mathematics and space, and then music, which is mathematics and time, followed by astronomy, which is, that's the big one, mathematics and space and time. And these resonances continue throughout the universe.
Wow.
And all the way to the largest of the macro and all the way to the smallest of the micro. And these are the frequencies that will activate your pineal gland.
Yeah, and I think that's the future, man. I think really we, like this, we're stumbling onto these kind of discoveries, right? Where we've used them in the past, but they've been changed. And then we see that, like they're talking about in the chat, where they use that frequency with water, or they use it with sand on a board with, you know, frequencies to create, or maybe it's not with sand, but with water.
Oh, they were using sand.
Yeah, and
you can create the flower of life or any of the other sacred geometrical patterns in sand using a tone generator.
Yeah, and I actually just got on Google Play check the App Store for 432 tuner, right? And it auto-populated, so there is a lot of people searching, and it looks like somebody does have one on here. So,
that's nice. And there should be I believe I've encountered a couple of computer programs out there. My son was going to experiment with one this week, where you can actually take the music that you already have on your iTunes, iPlay, everything like that. Mm-hmm. You can take that music and run it through a computer program that changes it to 432 resonance.
Oh, man, I got to try that. We got to try that and play that for the show. Man.
Oh, exactly. Let's change how.
Let's just change the show to 432. Let's resonate. Resonance rich. Let's get resonance rich. Let's get wealthy in resonance. Yeah. What do you think the connection is with the pyramid? You think that was like their way of communicating? Because the interesting thing about the Great Pyramids is there's no hieroglyphs in them. There was no bodies in them.
I would say our pyramids in the world fall into two groups. There's the groups that are made out of giant monolithic blocks, and then there's ones that are made out of smaller rocks. They're still just as big.
Right.
You know, and you know, the measurements of the planet are also encoded in the Mexican pyramids at Teotihuacan. And interestingly enough, if you look around long enough at the base measurements and the various measurements of the angles and the steps, and put them together in a certain particular fashion, which was decoded by Carl Munk, M-U-N-C-K. I'd encourage everybody to look up a couple, 3 YouTube videos of Carl Munk. He decodes the pyramid matrix, the only system of measurement in which this pyramid matrix decodes. And when I say decodes, I mean you can easily find within the base measurements and a few of the other measurements on the site of the pyramid a mathematical equation that will encode the exact, down to the thousandth of a degree, latitude, longitude, and degrees, minutes, and seconds of that location. And what are degrees, minutes, and seconds? Once again, that's that 6012 Sumerian counting system.
Right.
And it only works in miles. If you're trying in kilometers, all the resonances disappear. It doesn't work in kilometers. It only works in miles.
That's interesting.
It only works in feet. So everybody throw out your damn meter stick. Get rid of them. It's a psyop from the man to get rid of our resonances.
Well, that's what I was saying about the Great Pyramids, that there was no hieroglyphs in them. There was no mummies, from what I've heard, which make them interesting. They're almost like giant, what would we say? Like, how would you, if you knew that the society was going to get wiped out, and you had to leave a message for generations in the future, way beyond. They probably wouldn't speak the same language. They wouldn't know what your writing was. How would you leave them a very important message? You'd have to do it in the fashion that the pyramids are built. It's almost like the pyramids are an information that something important, right? Something to stand the test of time, just to prove something.
The pyramids are all resonators, and again, the pyramids fall into two groups, and I'll have to explain a little science project for you about this in a minute. They fall into two groups, and all right, the pyramids are resonant with their exact geodetic location on the planet, with their latitude, longitude, and everything, only as measured from a prime meridian of Giza, not from Greenwich, England. Oh. You have to change your prime meridian to 0 right through the Great Pyramid, then it all makes sense, right?
Okay.
Now, Here's another kind of weird thing, all right? Say about 12,000 years ago, the North Pole of the world was in a different place. That's called the science of paleomagnetics, right?
Uh-huh.
So when volcanoes spew out their lava and they leave it laying about and everything, the magnetic particles or minerals within that lava align themselves to the Earth's magnetic field, so you can see quite clearly that at times in the past the magnetic field was pointing in a different dang direction.
Wow.
So 12,000 years ago, and this is well established, this is considered mainstream science. 12,000 years ago, the North Pole was in Aquitaine Island and in Ingala Bay in northern Quebec, right?
Yeah.
So here's the science project, you know what I mean? Get yourself a globe, and I'm sorry, I'm still kind of analog. I mean, my parents were still farming with horses. You know? They grew up in the Great Depression. So, I mean, okay, translate this into get yourself a digital copy of the globe, okay? But here's in my analog way, here's what I'm saying. It's like grab yourself a globe, right?
Yeah.
Now get yourself a drill. Drill a hole in your globe right at Aquitaine Island in Ingala Bay in northern Quebec. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And now drill another hole exactly 180 degrees around, so you're actually changing the axis of your planet, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now that's your new north-south axis of your entire planet, right?
Okay. Yeah. I'm following you.
Okay? Now, once you do that, you'll find something really odd happens, right? From there, now, okay, so if you use the globe, you already have your previous latitude, longitude lines that already came with the globe, right?
Right.
They're on it.
Right.
But now they're wrong, right? They're different. Now what you got to do, figure out how to draw a new set of latitude, longitude lines that match with your new poles, right? So you can think of some kind of a compass arrangement where you put it on an axle, and you take your compass and you extend it down, and you do your latitude and longitude, right?
Yeah.
Something very freaking interesting happens. The pyramids automatically separate themselves into two groups all around the planet. And there's 80,000 pyramids around the planet. There's not 2, there's not 3, there's not 100. There are 80,000 freaking pyramids around the planet.
Wow.
And most of them unexcavated, uncovered, unreported on, right? Now, after you have changed your polar axis of your planet to Aquitaine Island and Ingala Bay, now you suddenly see the Great Pyramid of Giza. Place that on 0, right? Draw your new 0 meridian through Giza, and now look what your latitude of Giza is. Your Giza latitude lines up to exactly 19.5.
Wow.
Above the equator. Now, why is that significant, right?
I don't know.
That's because all the other great pyramids, the ones that weren't built with the giant blocks but were built with much smaller blocks in a different technological style, all of those ones, all of the super pyramids that are built in that style are on the current 19.5 meridian of latitude.
Wow.
All the old ones are on the ancient, the pre-12,000 years ago changing of the polar location. All the old giant pyramids that have that massive monolithic architecture, those are on the previous 19.5 parallel.
Wow.
Now, why is that significant? Okay, Mauna Loa, the volcano in Hawaii, that's on the 19.5 north parallel. The Great Red Spot of Jupiter, 19.5. The Great Blue Spot of Neptune, 19.5. Olympus Mons on Mars, 19.5. And if you think the governments of the world don't know this, just look at the exact latitude and longitude on the moon that the Chinese landed their Jade Rabbit rover. 19.5 degrees latitude, 44 degrees longitude. Now, there's a message. The Chinese are saying, number one, the Chinese are saying 19.5. We know about hyperdimensional physics. Number two, they're saying 44. Who was the president at the time? Barack Obama, the 44th president. The Chinese are sending a little message, hey, Mr. Obama, we know about hyperdimensional physics, too. Now, these are the points. This 19.5 degree energy band is where the giant and enormous energies of the universe well up. Now, how do we relate this back to our God chart that we created already from the Pythagorean tuning system? All you got to do is take what's officially the smallest geometric solid, which is your tetrahedron or a pyramid, a bunch of triangles formed into a pyramid.
Yeah.
Okay, internest this inside of a sphere as represented by our globe. Wow. The exact, now take the apex of the pyramid, put that at your North Pole, and then the bottom corners of your pyramid all line up at the 19.5 parallel north, and if you invert it and run one from the south pole, they all line up at your 19.5 degree parallel north.
Oh, my gosh.
What else lines up on 19.5? The Bermuda Triangle. These are the viral vortices around the world. This 19.5 is an upwelling of hyperdimensional energy.
Wow.
The pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Giza, was placed directly on that parallel. What does it do? Harvest the energy? Is it controlling the energy? Is it channeling the energy? I don't know, but I mean, hey, I would say it looks to me like, what do we build now that's as big as the pyramid? We built the Hoover Dam, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's huge, right?
Yeah.
We didn't build that to send a message to future generations. We built that to stop a bunch of water and make some power.
Make some electricity, yeah.
Yeah, so why is it that people think, hey, the pyramid is there as a message? Well, that's a pretty crappy message. It looks kind of uneconomical also to me.
Yeah, well, that's true to a point, but it kind of is giving us a message right now, right? I mean, not a message as in like, hey, we got to tell you something, but it speaks for itself that something's going on here, and that its dimensions and everything bring us that message in a way.
All we need to do is resonate with the message that is thrown out there.
Yeah, I wonder, they said it was once covered in what? Some white limestone, was that it? Or the bricks are limestone. Here you go. It was once covered with 144,000 blinding white limestone facing stones, which, by the way, also is a number that appears in your... 144,000?
It appears in your chart. Yeah, if you did your God chart as I laid out there, 144,000 appears. It's there. Now, here's the other weird thing about the pyramid, right? Like, we're saying message, or we're saying, hey, I think it's a machine, right?
Right, okay. Like an energy production or power plant, So the outside-facing stones of the pyramid, which are gone now, I mean, unfortunately, the outside-facing stones were made out of it, but there's a couple left, right? So we know what they are. Yeah.
The conductive limestone, very conductive limestone.
Right.
The inside layer, the rubbery-looking stones that we see when we look at a picture of the pyramid, those are non-conductive limestone. And what's superconductive is the frickin' silica granite that's on the inside of the chambers and the structures that are inside of the pyramid. It's a giant frickin' power plant of some kind harvesting this upwelling of hyperdimensional energy coming out of our planet.
Wow.
And now look at a plan of the Giza complex, or say Teotihuacan. This is really kick-ass. Teotihuacan has alternating layers of stone and conductive stone and mica as an insulator built right into the pyramid. And they say it's for ritual purposes, which I decode that in archaeological terms to mean, I don't know,
Yeah, they really... the historians, Egyptians, they really, or the Egyptian antiquities, or whoever controls the plateau, they all say, well, it was just a bunch of tombs, and, I don't know. That's hard to believe. That's really hard to believe.
Yeah. If someone says tomb or ritual, I automatically think, I don't know what I'm talking about is what they're really telling me.
Exactly.
Now look at these complexes from the air. Just look at those complexes from the air. And then look at a circuit board. It's a circuit board, Rich. Yeah. It's a giant circuit board in conductive and insulating stone. It's dielectrics mixed with conductors in stone right there, and it's a giant circuit board doing something. Now, why would they put an amphitheater in the middle of it? Okay, the Colosseum. Colosseum's all over. Why would you put an amphitheater in the middle of a giant circuit board made of various types, layers, and formations of conductive stone? That's because sound is the activator mechanism. Sound and light. The sun comes up, activates, say, this side of the pyramid. That side gets conductive. It flows this way. They have a show in the amphitheater. They get 50,000 people screaming for the gladiator, and that sound resonates down the streets and through the grid of the city right into their pyramids and out and around.
Oh, man. Yeah, we are definitely missing out on this. Dang.
Yes.
They used to have gold caps, too, didn't they? Or is that a fact?
I've heard gold caps and quartz caps. I mean, I'm not quite sure, but I did hear a story about an explorer in the 1800s or maybe early 1900s. He was up at the top of the pyramid with a bottle of wine, which to me sounds like a damn good idea. And he put the bottle up on top of his head, and sparks started coming out of it. So
I've heard of that.
Yeah, he wrapped the bottle in wet newspaper, and then it really started shooting sparks because what he just done is created a Leyden jar, which, if if we had our classical arts liberal arts education, we too would know about resonances in Leyden jars by the time we're in 5th grade. You know?
Yeah. I wonder what the importance is of the pyramid. If you know the pyramid, obviously, but I mean the sides of it, they're kind of indented, like just a little bit, like they come in on an indentation.
Yeah, the Great Pyramid of Giza is an 8-sided pyramid.
Right. 8-sided pyramid where it's like each side, it looks like a flat side, but it's actually just indented just a little, so it has 8 sides around it. That's kind of an interesting feature there. I wonder what that was for.
Well, it must have been super important because also, that would change the voltage gradient across the sides of the pyramid as the sun came across it.
Yes, okay, yeah.
And it must have been super important because that particular addition to the pyramid adds so much complexity to the potential engineering problems you would have in creating it.
The whole thing is crazy. Even those granite stones in the inside are just absolutely wondrous. Yeah, we'd have
every component.
Yeah, so there's something there. I wonder if we could try. I wonder if anybody's tried to replicate this at all. Maybe even on a smaller scale, with the limestone you're talking about, and maybe a quartz cap. That's something. That's a good question, right? I wonder if that's ever been done.
I know. This goes back into building things, right? Kids used to build things all the time. And,
yes.
This drops into mad science a little bit, too. There were so many manuals on how kids could build things back in the 18 and 1900s. And these weren't stupid manuals either. Like, I saw this thing called the 5th grade electronics books for boys that was published, like, in the early 1900s.
Right.
It was a lot more than I know.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple of book companies out there that still sell a lot of these books. And you're like, okay, machining is tough, right? I mean, how do I learn machining? I go to machining college. I pay $50 trillion. I get my predatory student loan, and I attempt to make the best of it. And then I have to use a $50,000 item to machine things with. I mean, that's what machining was like for me in college, right?
Right.
Because I didn't know anything. However, if you go to Dave Gingery Books, it might be DaveGingeryBooks.com, right?
Uh-huh.
They have something called the Build Your Own Machine Shop series. And you just start by building your own little simple backyard foundry, and you use the foundry then to produce your little lathe, and you use the lathe to produce your shaper, et cetera, et cetera. And so you have a whole machine shop for virtually nothing.
Oh, man, that's cool. I like that.
And just the process of doing it teaches you how to do machining, and then they got a bunch of machining manuals also written around the turn of the century.
Yeah, it's like Gabriel was talking about earlier, 3D printing, where they use that to create little pieces for their tools and stuff, Yeah, that's awesome. Man, we need to be doing more of this. I was looking into how to make your own glass. I wanted to start messing with vacuum tubes, as you know. But yeah, that's the whole point, is we need to start making things again. It seems like we just buy things now.
Yeah, the old Lindsay Publications was best at this. They've kind of sunsetted by now. Your old-time bookstore sells a few of those items yet, and most of them are sold out, so there's not as much left. I hope someone else will pick up the publication, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And pick up the rights. But they used to have books like Build Your Own Coil Winding Machine, How to Make Vacuum Tubes Out of Canning Jars, things like that.
Wow, that's cool.
Build Your Own radio sets, Build Your Own magnetic amplifiers, which, by the way, could be an alternative to the transistor, which is completely resistant to electromagnetic pulse. They were still used by the Navy for a long time because of that fact.
Yeah. Wow. So let me shift just a minute here. It seems like, as Godlike Productions, as we're brought to you by Godlike Productions, a lot of the news on GLP is about politics now. This war that seems is going on with the Trump administration and the deep state, right?
Yep.
You had mentioned before, I think, probably in our first episode, about the Tesla connection with Trump. And I kind of wonder sometimes, he's got his whole upper apartment coated in gold. If that's some kind of Faraday cage. Would that work like that? I wonder.
It certainly would.
That
would make a very good Faraday cage.
Yeah, to protect yourself from what? Electromagnetic weapons of some kind, right?
harmful resonances. Yeah, they can be microwaves of dissonant frequencies at your house or at your place of wherever. I mean, this actually came out at the Cuban embassy. Somebody was beaming dissonant frequencies, microwave frequencies at the Cuban embassy.
Yes, and in China too, right? There's Cuba
Oh,
and China.
I might not have heard about that.
Yeah, both places. Yeah, well, they called it some kind of I can't remember what they called it. It was like sound weaponry that was used. You know, some kind of sonic weaponry, but it was really mysterious. Like, they didn't know what they were talking about. Maybe they're the same kind of weapons they use to put voices in people's heads, maybe.
Yeah, or if you want to make your neighbors really sick, and don't do this at home, please, people, because this is kind of dirty, and we're trying to be nice people. But this is an example of what you can do. If you get a big bass speaker, and you put it down inside the those cement window wells that go into people's basements, and put it up against the wall and broadcast low-tone frequencies into it, you can make everyone in that house throw up. I mean, this is powerful technology.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Tesla talked about that. What was it? The mechanical oscillator, where if you knew what a structure or a structure's frequency, and you could have an oscillator attached and just completely tear the whole thing down. And that kind of goes back into what we're talking about separating atoms or nullifying the force that puts them together. Using sound.
Yeah, exactly. And this was being done by John Keeley in the 1850s. The guy's been at his lab multiple times. You know, Keeley keeps coming up.
Yeah, he does.
Remember when we talked about the pistol shrimp who does that snapping with his claw, creates a shockwave in the water, a water hammer that then makes the bubble to be 10. He creates a 10,000 degree temperature gradient and knocks his opponents out. That little shrimp does that. so apparently the pistol shrimp has solved cold fusion, right? Now Keeley was working with the Keeley motor that works with shockwave dynamics in the same way. And now here's the interesting thing: nobody seems to know this, even though it's been proven in the lab. Sound is faster than light.
Sound is faster than light.
And let me explain that, because there's a couple caveats here, right? So the speed of light in a vacuum is 186,400 miles per second, not 640 as said by the 432 squared, but it's within 0.01% on a 200,000 mile per second item. That's a pretty good shot at the target there.
Okay.
So and then now if you shine light through water or any other medium, as the medium's density increases, the speed of the light slows down, right?
Yeah.
So your max speed in the vacuum is light speed. Everything else is slower than that, right?
Right.
Sound itself, and I can't recall the university that did it, but they actually move sound faster than light because sound travels faster the more dense the medium. So as you approach an infinitely dense medium, the sound achieves infinite velocity.
Wow.
That's why they use sonar underwater. That's why if you use a shock wave, like the pistol shrimp figured, if you use a shock wave in the water, you can create a cavitation that then suddenly transcends the boundaries of normal physics, or as we would call it, normal physics. But hey, I don't know, it looks to me like the pistol shrimp solved cold fusion.
Yeah, it looks like we got
sonoluminescence.
Yeah, it's sonoluminescence, man. That's another mystery. I just pulled up this page. It looks like a globe with some kind of spinning structure. This is from John Keeley, a quote: "There is a celestial mind force, a great sympathetic force which is life itself, of which everything is composed, and they're trying to achieve something with vibratory rotation. Their chief scientific." This is a great website, svpdril.com. Just pulled up. Look at that thing. Look at that thing.
There used to be an archive called KeelyNet too.
I heard of that. Yeah.
I don't know if it's still around, but yeah, that was awesome stuff. However, there's a guy named Dale Pond, DalePond, Dale Pond.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, he'd be an awesome guest if he's still alive or around. That guy has done more than anybody else to sort out what exactly happened with Keeley, because all of Keeley's books were destroyed, and Dale Pond actually got a hold of one of the last examples of the Keeley motor and began from there, and he's working out
there's Dale Pond. Did you just say Dale Pond?
Yeah, Dale
There's
Pond.
a contact on here for Dale Pond. Wow.
Oh, man, he'd be an excellent guest.
Oh, man, we should try to get him, because the love machine, love equals a nuclear strong force. Wow. Do you know anything about this?
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, he called it the sympathetic frequency of the universe, sympathetic vibration, but he was just using that term to describe God. because he didn't want to use the term God or Allah or anything else, because, well, everybody brings their own perception of that word. Everyone brings their own perception of the word love. So Keeley just said, okay, we're going to call this sympathetic resonance.
Wow.
We're just going to move love into a scientific term so we can study it, and everyone doesn't bring in their preconception. That was his goal.
Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. We got a picture up here of these people standing around this rotating globe type thing, and they're holding their hands out as if they can feel some kind of energy. Look at that. That is weird. You know what that looks a lot like? I'm going to put the picture right on. That looks a lot like this. Trump holding the globe there in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
The glowing orb.
That's called the.
That looks. Look at that. Look at that. Oh man, that is crazy.
That's called the Dynasphere, and if it's the picture I'm thinking of in my head that I might have seen,
it's got a sphere. Yeah.
Yep.
It's got to be
called
the
the
same
Dynasphere. Yeah, Dale Pond set that thing up at a little stand at the Tesla conference and fired it up and walked away and went to lunch. And he came back, and there was a whole bunch of women surrounding it with their hands out to it. And he asked them what they were doing, and they said they were feeling the love.
Wow, this is amazing here. To know the mechanics of wave vibration oscillation is to know the entire secret of nature. Walter Russell. And it's showing this machine, man.
Yep.
This is nuts. It's an advanced synthesis of science and philosophy, harnessing sound, light, heart, mind, and will. This is crazy stuff. Yeah.
And you can bet every single one of those frequencies that they find significant appears going right back to your Pythagorean chart of resonance.
Wow. Resonance, man. Yeah, they say...
It's all resonance. If you're an atheist, that whole chart of resonance, that's your picture of, well, let's not call it God, that's your picture of the resonance
that you came from.
Totality of the universe, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you're an atheist, there's your conception of universal harmony. You don't have to call it God, just call it the Pythagorean chord chart, and you can still be an atheist, but you can still understand all these amazing resonances and be in harmony with them.
Well, you know, there's an interesting part of the Bible, I think it's in Acts, but it says the mystery of the ages or something, I'm paraphrasing, that God is love. That's what God is. And I've heard people tell me before that, you know, God is actually exists within us, all of us, and it's something they're trying to kill. You know, we've talked about they before, the Illuminati, whoever. They're trying to kill it. They're trying to kill it, and that's why they distort, invert reality, and distort, get us out of harmony. Because eventually, you know, we're so confused and we're so led down the wrong path that we are trying to kill ourselves a lot of the times, it seems like. I mean, we're dealing with suicide rates that are unbelievable already, let alone doing action or committing actions that are already harmful, you know. This is interesting stuff, man. This is something that needs more. We need to contact Dale. We need to try to get him on. So how does this machine work? Do you know?
Oh, that would be better described by Dale Pond. I kind of brushed over it a few years ago, and I do remember the reference, but I can't recall the mechanism.
Yeah, it is interesting. Well, it sounds like you're busy there. You're probably out of time, huh? I should let you go.
Yeah, and hey, I just want to say one last thing is that,
Sure.
hey, they have been removing our resonance points. When they changed our musical scale for the 440, they took away a resonance point. When they're trying to switch us to the metric system, they're taking away a resonance point. Every time they make one of these changes, they're removing a resonance point that we have coming to us as our heritage. So hey, you know what? Grab your resonance points. Learn what they are. The 1260 counting system that leads to degrees, minutes, seconds of arc, miles, feet. You know, it's important to have the right kind of system for measuring things because that's where the resonances are at. It's important to have the right kind of tuning on your instrument because that's where the resonances are at. And in fact, if you tune your instrument to the right resonance and expand your chart, it gives you every resonant frequency in the universe for everything.
Wow, man.
And you can claim it all. All you got to do is retune your guitar to 432.
I'm going to do it.
Do it, man. Do it.
I'm gonna try it out, definitely. This is fascinating stuff. Great stuff, man. We are so out of harmony, man. You know, even in the chat they were talking about earlier that shoes are kind of a conspiracy too because they keep us off from being grounded. You know, that we're supposed to be grounded as electrical beings. We should walk on our barefoot a little bit more.
Yeah, and one of my sisters says that she walks around barefoot all the time when she doesn't have to wear. She goes out in public, she wears shoes, but anytime she's at home, she always walks barefoot, and she says it's just because she feels better walking barefoot.
Yeah.
And she's a pretty connected individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm kind of academic a little bit. My sister's more ethereal, more in tune. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So she probably gets a lot of that. Probably helps her a lot. I'm sure. It's something I want to try more. It's just so hard. It's like.
Oh yeah. I remember, like, all the women were standing around the spear, feeling the love. Right? That was a bunch of girls.
Yeah. This picture here is tripping me out, man. Is that what they're feeling? Yeah, because you can see. I'll flip it back here for you guys. Look at this. Look at the guys kind of, well, this guy's feeling it, but that's crazy, man. We got to check this out. We got to get this guy on. That is just insane.
It would be stunning.
Yes. Yeah, this deserves more research. And again, for those of you listening, this is Sympathetic Vibratory Physics, a Musical Universe. Yes, this here. It's svpvril.com. What an interesting website. Wow. We need to check this
out. Your Pythagorean chord chart, your Pythagorean tuning chart, that is the key to the whole dang thing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to do it to my guitar, and we're going to try it. Maybe we'll even play it, strum a few strings on the show next week or something. I wish I could have done it tonight. I didn't even know.
Well, it's a cumulative factor. Like they said when they tried it out, the clinicals on people.
Yeah.
It actually aggravated them on the first day because it was. Suddenly, their body was trying to reharmonize to something, and then by the second or third day, they were actually feeling much better, and all their symptoms went away.
Man.
Now what clogs up your pineal gland and removes all your resonance? Fluoride. Fluoride destroys your resonance. Fluoride calcifies your pineal gland. Where did fluoride come from? Where did they use it? Hey, they used it in the concentration camps in the Gulag.
Yeah.
Hitler
keep them docile, non-aggressive.
Yeah. Where the rubber hit the road, it was cheaper. They could administer fluoride, and they could use only 1/4 as many guards.
Wow. Yeah. That's why it's in our water. I mean, like, people don't think about it, but beer has fluoride in it because it's got tons of water, right?
Flip your toothpaste tube around, right? Read the warning on the back. It says, caution, do not eat. Yeah, and you know how much it says not to ingest? Happens to be at 1.4 parts per million, which is our standard American fluoridation rate. At 1.4 parts per million, if you drink your standard, what they recommend, 6 glasses of water per day, you have just consumed exactly the same amount of fluoride that your toothpaste tube is warning you about right there.
That's insane, man. We got to stop this stuff. Yeah, I stopped using regular toothpaste. We got fluoride-free toothpaste, and we rinse with hydrogen peroxide.
Hey,
we haven't had a dental problem since. I mean, it's been years. We haven't seen.
You know what I did for water is I got those big stainless, what do they call them? Stainless steel, shiny looking Berkey water filters. I got one that was, and this hurt me. It was $200 and some bucks, right?
Ooh, was it a distiller? Is it a distiller?
No, it's just a standalone thing you put on your counter, and it comes in a box, and you screw these filters in, and it takes all the fluoride and everything else out of the water. Yeah,
we used to have one of those. They're pretty good. Now we just get it from the store. The store says there's no fluoride and chloride and sodium, but I wonder. I hope it's fluoride-free.
It's nice that at least they're advertising, because that shows awareness that people are requesting no fluoride in the water.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if the store is offering it, that means people are waking up. People are learning.
Oh, yeah. And the biggest thing is, just looking at the law of why it's there. Well, they put it into place because, it's health. The government did it because they're worried about our teeth. Really? That's the biggest.
No, not at all. In fact, it was first done in a town in Texas. However, you will not find a study out there anywhere that shows fluoride decreases tooth decay. There is one study that says it shows a nominal hardening of your enamel. Yeah. But those African tribes where they file their teeth down into those sharp points, and you're like, oh God, how could you possibly do that, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's because they have extremely high fluoride content in their water. Their teeth are very, very soft, so they can file them down all day, no problem.
Wow.
screws up your teeth, and that's and if a dentist says that fluoride is bad for you, the dentist loses his credentials.
Oh yeah.
My dentist, I actually had all the mercury taken out of my teeth. It took $5,000, but I've been much healthier since.
Yeah.
I had all the mercury taken out of my teeth, and my dentist recommends this non-fluoride toothpaste, but she says right up front that she's not allowed to say anything about fluoride or she's going to lose her certification.
Wow. And I'm sure that's the truth. I mean, that's
with
almost
mercury.
hate speech. Don't be hating on fluoride. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yep,
I mean,
exactly.
I just know in our family, in our life, we've switched, and let me tell you, we noticed the difference. The problem I worry about is tap water. Like, well, I don't drink tap water. Well, we bathe in it. We shower with it. And the skin is the biggest organ of our body, right? I mean, it absorbs things.
Yeah.
That's made me start to wonder about a lot of things, like deodorant and stuff. The shampoo, everything. It's just like, how... You start to wonder, what am I really doing here to myself if you start to notice where, they're changing things to keep us.
Yeah, I have switched my shampoo, my deodorant, and my toothpaste all into natural products now.
Yeah, what do you use for shampoo and deodorant? What's your route? Because I've been wondering about that.
I like one-stop shopping, you know what I mean? And, so it's somewhere I can find most stuff. It's a little more expensive, but my most recent acquisition, I got all the stuff from Alex Jones's website.
Oh, man, InfoWars. Yes, Brain Force.
Yeah.
Woo! Maybe I shouldn't say that. That's probably a trademark.
He sells you know what? And if anyone can afford it, you know how silverware used to be silver?
Oh, yeah.
And you know how ionic silver is good for you?
Are you talking about colloidal silver? Is that where you're going?
Yeah. Or if you just eat your food off a real silverware,
really,
you get the benefits of silver. Don't save that silver for special occasions. Use it every day.
Well, what about gold? Like the Vatican, I was just seeing that somebody was telling me they hoard most gold in the world out of any organization. I don't know if that's true or not, by the way, but is there something with gold? I've heard of this. I've heard of this. What is it called? Monatomical gold. Monatomical.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
ORME. Orbital rearranged monatomic elements. I believe the guy's name was David Hudson, and there's a lot of sites out there that are selling monatomic gold. Orbitally rearranged monatomic elements, and it's supposed to be good for you. I don't know if it's good for you. I haven't had the money to try that one out yet. It's spendy for some of that stuff.
Yeah, gold's expensive. Gold's real expensive, and then maybe there's a reason behind it. Maybe for that, right? Who knows?
Oh, yeah, and look at what happened biblically, right? What did Moses do with the golden calf? He melted it down. If you're going to make orbitally rearranged monatomic gold, you melt it down to 8,000 degrees until it turns into a fine white powder. And what did he do after he melted down the golden calf? He fed it to the Israelites. He was feeding them monatomic gold right there.
Oh, man. Brain exploding here. What? Really? Is that like manna? You think that's like manna?
Oh, it very well could be, because that's the orbitally rearranged monatomic elements are supposed to be the things that then infuse your body and get into every cell in your body, and they raise the vibratory level of your system.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. And this goes back to the Philosopher's Stone, right? That the Philosopher's Stone's at the highest level, if you ingested them, it would make all your teeth fall out, all your hair fall out, you'd shed a lot of skin and stuff, and your body would be like reborn. It's so allegorical too with the Bible, like rebirth, the baptism. I read a book called Mystery of the Cathedrals, and it was a very allegorical book about making the Philosopher's Stone. This guy, was it written by, what's his name? Falconelli. I don't know if you've gone...
Yeah, if you read that book, Falconelli's book also, you'll notice some incredible parallels in the movie Harry Potter, when he's talking about getting on the train and going to the mountain full of wizards who are instructing people. That's all out of Falconelli.
Wow. Yeah.
So Harry Potter is sort of like the popularized version of the work of Falconelli. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and like last week, you were talking about that red mercury, because it seems like there's two different, so much mysterious things there. There's got to be something. Yeah,
and gold and mercury, very close on the periodic table. But
right. Didn't they bust into Egyptian... didn't archaeologists come into Egyptian temples and stuff, or even the pyramids, and they found lots of mercury, like a whole pond of it inside some of these tombs or whatever?
that would be in one of the Chinese tombs, the giant Chinese tombs. There was a giant lake of mercury, and the emperor was inside, sitting on the island in the lake of mercury, surrounded by his enormous army of terracotta soldiers. It was awesome.
Wow. Crazy.
Absolutely incredible.
Crazy. Yeah,
You can't make this stuff up, man.
No.
You can't make it up. The real world is way crazier than anything you can make up, I think,
Yeah.
It's just out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Just crazy, man. Well, I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and let you go, man. We've been running here, and I know you're probably busy, need to get going. But man, Renaissance Ted, you're woke, bro. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been awesome.
You're welcome.
One of these days
Thanks
we're gonna
for everybody
figure
for
it out.
listening.
Oh yeah. One day we're gonna
close,
figure it
hey.
out. And it's just gonna happen. I think we're ready to bust out of this confusion, seeking the truth.
It is time.
It is time. Well, again, man, Renaissance Ted, thank you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Peace there, Residence Rich.
All right, bud. Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. Well, that was Renaissance Ted. I'm Renaissance Rich. Lymerick, are you calling in? We got a little time left. We've been running for about 3 hours now, but Lymerick, call me, man. The number's on the screen. You called me last week. I didn't get to you. Call me. Let's talk, bro. Let's talk. I'm a nice guy. All right, guys, we got Lymerick on the show. What's up, bud?
Well, I am, I guess. A little
Yeah.
late for me here, but not a problem.
Awesome.
Geez, we always get into these really good conversations. I'm loving this hidden paths.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I'm loving it, too. You know what? I just love having guys on that know so much, like Renaissance Ted. And you seem to be vibing with it, right?
That guy's fascinating. I was loving that guest. You got to keep bringing him back. That was great.
Yeah, I do every show. It seems like he's a psychonaut out there. I'm telling you, he's great. You're from GLP, right? You're from Godlike Productions. You're over there.
Yeah, I've been a lurker there for about 11 years, and then I saw Trinity change things around a little bit and wanted to kill the cowards. So I went
aren't
ahead
they back?
and decided to step out and start talking to people.
Oh,
And
aren't
that's-
the Anonymous Cowards back now? I think they're back, aren't they?
I don't know, but there was a time when you had to register to be able to get in there. So
Yeah.
I decided I'd be a hidden lurker, and here I am now.
Yeah, it looks like they're posting again, so that's kind of cool. But it gets a little crazy, but it's kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, well, it gives me something to do when I come home from work. I don't have any kids or anything, and I'm an older guy, so I come home and I don't have anything to do but
Right
search
on.
conspiracy sites and look at interesting shit. So
Absolutely.
I have a rather broad base, and I I don't have anything better to do.
So let me ask you, man, what is it that really gets your fire going when you get on? You see that subject and you're like, oh wow, and you're just all fired up, and it just piques your interest. It's your fascination. What is that subject? What is that?
It doesn't take much for me, but I'm the alien propulsion quite heavily.
Okay.
And the pyramid was a lot of good points were brought up. Those were energy brought things. That's what they were. I don't really think they were built as monuments or anything else. I think they were built along the ley lines of the earth, and they were based on frequency. They've got chemical residue on all the insides of the walls in there. They know what chemicals they used. They know how they did it. They know exactly the whole process behind the whole thing. There's water that ran underneath that was forced into the pyramids. So
Right.
it's really quite fascinating what they were used for. They broadcast an energy.
Yeah.
And that's why you find that same structure all the way around the world, and that's why they all have water underneath them.
Yeah, that's an important point too. Is that there's an aquifer underneath it, and I think the Whiting Cliff Tower that Tesla was building on Long Island, was it? That had an
Yeah.
aquifer under it too. That he was
Yeah,
trying to do the
he
same
knew
thing.
a lot of. They took all his work and suppressed everything because they just don't want us to know this. They want us
No.
completely corralled. They want us completely. Well, they want us as sheep.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's on that is the internet. The internet's their death. We can all talk now. We can all do what we're doing
Absolutely.
right here. Now, we couldn't do this before.
No.
So we were in the dark. But this has been going on since the very beginning. Since the very beginning.
Yeah, for a long time they've been the gatekeepers, right, through the television, everything, radio, Hollywood. Now with the internet, it's like, man, things have changed, and they're trying to corral us into Twitter and Facebook, but we still break out. And internet's a
that's
blessing.
going to end. People aren't going to last too long with that. Twitter's going to die fast if they keep this shit up. Believe me.
Yeah, Facebook too, man. Face bad.
You're talking to a 61-year-old man who has never in his life owned a cell phone. Okay? I don't have a Twitter account. I've never had a Facebook account, ever. None of that crap.
Man.
I don't have Wi-Fi in my house. I got it sitting over there, and it's shut off. And I've got a bus that I use completely wired up as a Faraday cage where I keep all my electronics.
Hell
so
yeah.
When I sleep in the house, but when I want to come out and surf the web and stuff like this, I go into my bus that I have. I bought a transit bus, and I have it all wired up with copper wire around it and grounded and shit. And I have all my stuff inside of old microwaves, and those are all grounded.
Dude, you sound smart. Dude, what are you into? Have you figured out any secrets with this technology?
I'm telling you right now, we're going to get an EMP. I'm sure of it.
You think so?
I'm sure it's just too easy for them. It's not going to destroy all the ground. It's not going to kill everything out. They're going to EMP us, I'm sure, if the sun doesn't do it first. And they could be working on making that happen.
That's a good point. I mean, a lot of people have been watching that and the earthquakes and everything. It seems like we're ramping up. There is a pressure building. Do you think there's an event on the way?
Come on, you know Nemesis. Don't you all know about Nemesis? I mean, you know there's a system coming in, right? I mean,
Nemesis.
Well, it's already this once. It's on its swing back right now. It's coming around the backside of the sun. It's coming up from underneath of us, and it's starting to accelerate, and it's going to come right past us, real close. They've known about it for many, many years. Since like the 40s, they've known about it, and they've been building underground bases feverishly, and that's where all the money goes. That and reverse engineering technology. Oh, it's fascinating, and it's scary, and we're being left out in the cold.
I know.
And they all know it. That's all the solar observatories.
Yeah, even the Vatican's got one, right?
They found, pedophile or something like that. They started going into that on it.
Oh,
did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, tell me more about that. I missed that, man. Tell me about that.
Well, they said there was stuff they found in a computer, child porn or some crap, and that's why the FBI was called in. So I guess that's why they shut down all of the ones in the rest of the world. The other 6 other observatories, they shut those down as well, in other parts of the world because we had child porn on ours. Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't. That sounds nuts. I missed that, too.
It is nuts. Expect us to believe that. It's even crazier. And then that lady...
Yeah, driving across the country. She's like, you guys are going to have to wait. Oh, man. It's getting nutty.
Yeah.
Do you think you think we're headed towards an event?
Oh, yeah.
What do you? Yeah,
come on, man.
Yes, I do. Yes.
We're there.
Yes, I do.
There, if you feel it in the pit of your stomach,
it's at the doorstep.
Sit down and relax and take a few deep breaths and clear your mind. Actually do this. I mean it. Go out where it's quiet and just clear your mind and just sit there for a while. And I'm telling you, you'll feel it in the pit of your stomach. You can tell something's coming. There's going to be some big changes. It's not good either. No. I'm going to miss some of the I like to do here. I'm going to miss it. Yeah. But it's okay, because I've known about it for many, many years. But I'm telling you right now, we're about to get spun. I'm pretty sure we're going to hit a pole shift. Yeah. One of those 28 type deals that you hardly feel anything, and the next thing you know, you got earthquakes and tidal waves everywhere. That's what's coming, I think. I think this is going to happen. I think the Nemesis system is going to cause us a lot of grief. There's pictures of it all over the internet. The FAA cameras at all the airports and shit are getting them. They're trying to block it, but there's such a mass flood of information about it, they can't. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
And if you can't come in, it can't all be fake.
No.
Okay, there aren't thousands of people taking pictures and shit. This is something that's happening, and we should be made aware of it.
Yeah.
But they can't. And if you use your logic, you can see why they can't. What would you do if you knew that there was a system coming that was going to change all your life as you know it? Going to kill most of us. What would you do? Would you keep going to work? Would you keep doing the hidden path?
Well, I don't know. Probably doing the hidden path just to wake everybody up to it, maybe. But, yeah, I mean, the rest of the stuff would look pretty pointless.
And I'd get me a bottle and cock my shit, my bag, and try to get somewhere I could up. And
well, that's why, like, Doom Preppers has really been a popular thing nowadays. You think that's all just kind of a subconscious thing of all a collective consciousness that everybody's, we've seen the shows Doom Preppers and people, it's a subconscious thing.
Back, this is the pit of the stomach. You can feel it coming.
Right.
Your inner self can tell something's coming. If you don't feel that shit's off now, you never will.
Yeah.
Okay? Some out there are sympathetic enough and empathetic enough that they can just feel. When I walk outside sometimes in the morning to go to work and shit, everything feels off. It just feels off.
It does.
I go to work. Hey, it's a normal day, just like all my other days. I've been on that job for the last 15 years. Same job. Real good at it. I don't even have to think anymore, and yet it doesn't feel right. Things don't feel like they used to.
Something.
Okay, and it's a lot of different reasons, but I'm telling you, we're coming to something bad. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's going to be civil war. I don't know if it's going to be the sun popping off, because it's about to. Our magnetic field, we're heading toward this part in in October, I think it's called. I can't remember the name they put on it. I looked at Suspicious Observers, and it was on there talking about the cracks in the magnetosphere. And it's every year, we get a certain month or two where there's these large cracks that happen, and they let in the sun's rays.
Right.
And sun's rays are weird energy.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even know what the energy is, okay? There's gamma and all kinds of other stuff, but there's all kinds of weird energy coming out of the sun. They don't even know what the hell it is.
Right.
And some of it is the kind of energy that can actually mutate shit, okay? Like you.
Yeah.
Like if you get a full to the sun, if we didn't get fried, it'll mutate.
Oh.
Your DNA will mutate. And all kinds of stuff.
Well,
and this starts going into all these people talking about us going to a fifth dimensional.
Yeah, and some people talking about the solar flash, that's the event. A lot of them have dreamed about a solar event that the sun just flashes. And in fact,
on the Zeta website will talk about the wave that's coming from another galaxy and stuff. I don't think it's any of that. I think it's going to be from the sun if something like that does happen. And it's going to hit our DNA. Our DNA is all manufactured. There's no way ever that it could have happened naturally. There's plain and simple signs all through our DNA in many different areas, and I can't name them all because I'm no scientist, but our DNA was definitely manufactured. It was definitely made a certain way, and there's a whole bunch of it that's not activated. It's also created to be a receptor, and it receives energies. We're actual walking tuners is what we are. We're walking around waiting to receive certain frequencies of energy and shit.
Yeah.
And when that happens, supposedly anyway, this is what they're saying, is that when the energy hits our DNA, it's going to transform us, and we're going to change our carbon base. We're going to go to a crystalline substance. We're going to change.
Man, we're
going to mutate.
That is just right on. I feel like I'm resonating with that, brother. Let me ask you, though, do you think some will, some won't? Do you think few will advance beyond?
Yes.
That some won't accept the signal, it'll be too much?
There will be people that will move on to the fifth that can handle it. Those are the people that have love in their heart. Those are the people that have compassion. Those are the people that are ready in their head for this type of thing. The confused, the people that aren't on board, the ones that refuse to believe, they'll be left behind. They'll stay here.
Man, that is just, that's resonating with me as far as the truth. And it's like, you almost pity the other people. Like you want to help them. You want to spread the truth somehow, Definitely. I've been trying to do it.
You're doing a fine job, and you're reaching out and getting a hell of a lot more people than I am. I try to tell the people around me, my friends, my neighbors, you're reaching out to the world.
I'm trying.
You're doing something. I'm good.
You are now, too, though, because you're on here. And you're awesome, dude. I'm loving the stuff you're saying right now. I think you're right on.
Oh, God, I can go on and on forever.
Well, that's great. We got all night, right? Well, let me ask you this. You mentioned earlier about Wi-Fi, right? That you had shut the Wi-Fi off. My mother is like this. What's your thoughts on Wi-Fi? Do you think it's damaging us? It's confusing us, or it might be tapping into the DNA?
Wi-Fi is doing all kinds of shit to you. It's fucking your dreams up. It's screwing with your DNA.
Wow.
It's messing appetite. It's changing your emotions. It's doing all kinds of stuff to you. And the cell towers, don't even get me started. Let me tell you about cell towers. First of all, why do we need cell towers? Don't they use satellites?
That's an interesting name, too, cell.
Think about that for a minute. What the fuck are they talking about all these satellites up there for, and yet they got cell towers?
Yeah.
Okay, what's that all? The satellites should be able to broadcast to everybody. Well, what the hell do you need a tower for? Then, the towers themselves, if you look at them, you look at the big, thick, black cables going up them. They'll take a good close...
Lots of power there.
Okay? This is bad. I'm telling you, they're wired for like 1,000 fucking kilovolts or some shit. 4,000, huge, huge number. All right? I think it's 400 volts, goes for 26 miles. Okay? 400 volts is enough to broadcast a cell signal to everybody in a circle for 26 miles around.
Wow.
Okay? And these things are all wired with their own goddamn power supply, their own shit. And they're all done with
they're pumping
4,000 watt.
Yeah.
They can cast every frequency that controls us, okay? We are electromagnets. We run on electromagnetic frequencies. Our brain generates a command. It travels as an electrical impulses down through your nerves to the synapses, through the acetylcholine muscles, and it tells them to move. All right? They can broadcast that frequency. They can make you lift your arm. They can make you pick your nose. They can make you stab yourself in the eyeball. They can make you laugh. They can make you cry. They can make you kill yourself. They can make you kill your neighbor. They can make you just stand there. They can make you just shut down if they want to. Also, they can fry us because those are, in effect, giant microwaves. Yes, that's right.
That's true.
A cell tower, a microwave, and it can literally fry you.
And you know
it will turn the entire face of the fucking planet into a microwave if they so desired.
Yeah.
That's where you're at with cell towers. And everybody that has anything to do with a cell tower, that lives by one, anyone that works on them or is close to a cell tower at all, will know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, they'll know.
We need to get somebody on that does cell towers out there. Maybe they got some info
you
for
really
us.
should. You should. Somebody that's not afraid to speak and don't give his real name because they'll probably fire him.
Oh, absolutely,
but,
yeah.
Hey, look that up.
Well,
cell towers, it is. Oh God.
Well, you know what's interesting about microwaves in their house, the microwave that's in people's houses, is if you put your cell phone in them, they'll lose all signal because it's a protective casing, right? If you wrap your cell phone in tin foil a couple times, it won't get no signal. No microwave signal, no Wi-Fi signal, no GPS signal, no satellite signal. Is that where tinfoil hat came from? I wonder.
Yeah, think about it. You can also use tinfoil on your feet and your joints when they're sore, and it will heal them.
Wow.
If your foot's real sore and your ankle hurts from a hard day, wrap it in tinfoil for about an hour.
Yeah.
And watch it.
We got so much shit beaming around. I mean, we got Wi-Fi, we got Bluetooth. Who named something Bluetooth? Huh? Well, yeah, Bluetooth, satellite, everything's just, you're right about it. I mean, and we're going to 5G, man. You know, Verizon's going to hook us right up.
5G is our death. 5G is going to kill us.
I wonder why we need 5G, though, because 4G is pretty fast. I mean, 5G is going to kill us, I'm telling you. And they want most of us dead. You've seen the Georgia Guidestones, you know. I know.
Okay? They weren't kidding about that. They want about, I think, 500 million? That's it?
Yep.
Want to clean the earth.
Those are weird, huh? They just showed up. They're definitely from them. Huh?
They stick to the whole thing. They have to show you. That's part of what Satanism is. They have to show you. They have to right in front of your face.
Wow, what a great connection there, dude. That is so true.
They're bound to that. They're bound to that by Satan. God bound them to that. We won't be taken unaware. You're going to be aware. If you go to hell, it's your own fault. If you want to follow the devil, it's your own fault because you're being told. You're telling you, it's right in front of your face.
Yeah, dude.
That whole is God, that's a deep rabbit hole. Yeah, 5G is making a cattle go insane. That's making all of us go insane. You watch, they start cranking that shit up, people are going to start going off.
Yeah. What do you think about the mark of the beast? What do you think that is? You think it's a chip, like a lot of people?
It is definitely the chip.
Yeah.
Did the part in the Bible where the plagues, and he unleashes the locusts that have the face of the lion and all that shit, the face of a man,
crowns,
and then he talks about the blisters that will erupt, the painful blisters that will erupt all over men. Okay? Those blisters, there's only one. Those blisters are from the chip. And when it explodes in your hand, they didn't use the safe type of battery. They used, I think they used lithium or something like that. But anyway, when that chip malfunctions, it's going to blow up in their hand, and it's going to leave a really nasty, really hard to heal, big red sore, putty blister.
Oh,
and wherever that,
it's going to disconnect us from the source.
That's why they're going to have. They're going to pop that chip. The chip's going to malfunction somehow. I'm telling you, it's all there. You just have to have faith and believe in it. And even if there isn't a God, what's wrong with believing in it?
Yeah.
You know?
No,
I mean,
there's nothing
what's
wrong
wrong
with it. I mean, a lot of people misconcept what God is. They think it's like Santa Claus, and that's a lot of the problem, too. You know, it's Santa Claus. He sees everything. He knows when you're doing good and bad things, and the kids realize Santa's not real, and they're like, oh, well, I did all those good things, and nobody was watching. Oh, maybe that correlates with what? Christmas Day, which is the day I worship. Yeah, it's you are so right about them having to tell us before they do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do. They broadcast everything. If you're just looking for it, you can see it. It's plain as day, and it's catching up to them now. And once again, the internet is their death.
Yeah.
We're able to now. We couldn't do this all in the 1500s and the hundreds and the 1800s and even the 1900s. We couldn't talk like this.
Hell no.
Now we're all able to speak, and we're all able to see shit, and we're all waking up and the veil's being lifted.
Yes.
And every day,
the lifting of the veil.
My roommate's calling.
Oh.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. He's in the house. I'm hearing my bus.
Well, what's your thoughts on Trump?
Huh?
What's your thoughts on Trump? You think he's part of Donald Trump? You think he's part of the deception? You think he's part of it, or you think he's really just trying to help us? And maybe,
you know what? At this point, who in the fuck can tell? I can tell you two things I know for sure. I can tell you one thing: he can't be totally above board because you don't get that fucking much money. Okay, you just don't. Oh, he's a good guy, and he's done a lot of good shit, and I believe in it. And I'm for him 100%. Okay, I think Trump's a good man, but I'm sure that he's compromised in ways that we wouldn't like. But he probably didn't have much of a choice. But the world's a big place, and there's other people running it other than us. Okay, and when I say people, put parentheses around it. I don't think we're run by humans. I don't think we ever have been.
No.
I don't think humans have been in control of themselves since humans were created. I think they engineered us from monkeys that were running around, basically. Made us smart so we could find gold for the guys, you know, and then let us roll.
Anunnaki, huh?
And we've been an ongoing experiment ever since. I think they've been coming in here and tweaking us here and there, making us a little smarter, giving us a little knowledge. You'll notice most of these guys, Tesla, all these guys that had the great inventions, most every one of them said it came to them in a dream.
Yep.
Most every one of them said it came to them in a dream. Yep. All of them said that. Start putting that together, you go, well, how's that working? It's because somebody told them. It was seeded. They were given that information. We were brought up. Somebody's been bringing us up. Bit by bit, we've been lifted from where we were to where we are now, and we still got a long ways to go.
Well, I mean, look what happened to Tesla, though. You know, he was kind of thrown off in the garbage, and a lot of his stuff's still classified to this day. I mean, think about how many patents there are out there that have been shelved. Kept from us.
They couldn't have it. They couldn't have it right away, and that's because, like I say, from the very start, it's been Satan. Satan's run the world ever since Jesus left. Okay, he's been in control of all of this shit the whole time, and he's been doing it right in front of your face through the church and the Vatican, right in front of everybody's face. Because, well, that's what Satan is, the great deceiver, and that's just what he's deceiving. He's doing a fine job of it. Most of these holy people don't even realize what they're doing. They really don't. I'm not discounting the Bible, and I'm not saying church is bad and anything, but what I'm telling you is it's being used. It's being used as a tool, and it's being used to control us because humans must have something to hope for. We must have something to hang on to. We must have some kind of faith.
To just believe and, you know, it will be fine. Well, what if Lucifer has infiltrated the church? Like, I mean, if Lucifer is real, you think he would, right?
Well, yeah.
That would be his prerogative.
the Vatican's just look at this Pope now. He's out in the open. Look at some of the stuff he's spewing out.
Yeah.
About Muslims and stuff, and it's crap.
Yeah.
And anybody that has a head on their shoulders can plainly see what it is. They're coming out of the woodwork. They're being brought out to the light. The veil is falling apart. Everybody's starting to see them for what they are.
Yeah. So let's say let's say there is an event, right? Let's say Nemesis flies close to the sun has a solar reaction, and it has a flash or something, or it activates this DNA, and like the Bible says, two men will be walking in the field, and then one will be left and the other will be gone. That some of us somehow go to the next level, right? We go to we're out of here. We just split like a magnet, negative and positive, just repelling each other, right? And there are these left behind. Would that be like the rapture? And then maybe those left behind have to deal with the mark of the beast and all that? Is that how we could see things happening?
That very well could be.
Yeah.
That very well could be. That fits right in with everything.
It does, kind of. I just thought of it actually, but I don't want to take credit for that.
Well,
hey man, let me ask you, what's your thoughts? You said you don't have a cell phone?
Nope, never had one.
Wow, awesome.
Never in my life.
Holy cow. I wonder how many people out there have never, well, I'm sure there's some third world countries, but you're in America, I'm assuming. How many Americans don't have a cell phone?
Seattle's the king of it. There isn't anybody around here who doesn't have a cell phone in their face. Everywhere you go.
Sure. Especially driving on the fast lane.
It's everywhere. That's just how it is here. I've never had one because I'm 60 years old.
Yeah.
I grew up without a phone all my life. I didn't need a phone. What the hell do I want a phone for?
Well, I'm half your age, and I remember the times when I didn't have a cell phone. It's crazy how fast it's changed.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, well, they're not even cell phones anymore. They're like little televisions. So we all got a television.
About the best tracking device money can buy is what they are.
Yeah. So
I'm telling you right now, you're carrying around the chip right in your pocket. It's radiating the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Every time you put that phone, it's beaming radiation directly into your brain, going right through your skull, right into your gray matter. Do you see that thing on YouTube where the guy cooks the eggs with the cell phone?
I've seen stuff like that, yeah, or they do other things.
Puts them on a counter and he cuts it back in half and he puts like 4 cell phones on each side, gets them all broadcasting, and puts a skillet down and cracks an egg in there and you can watch it cook.
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah, you look it up. Look, just hit egg and cell phone and punch it into YouTube. You'll find it. He cooks an egg in a frying pan with 4 cell phones on either side, and they're all running at once.
Oh,
and he does.
I hope he's not using like a flamethrower or something above it just to make it look like that. We'll have to check that out though. But
no,
I believe it. It's microwaves. It is microwaves. I mean, that's what it is, right? I mean,
yeah.
They're manipulating light with energy. I mean, what was this thing? The Chinese. Some researcher or scientist in China came out like a whistleblower, and he's like, they've developed a laser that could vaporize a human being. It sounds like War of the Worlds. I mean, China's into some crazy shit, man. You think they probably...
Really is.
Oh, yeah.
Most can't have microwaves. In most countries, they don't allow microwaves. They're illegal. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
We're one of the few countries that actually have microwaves.
Really?
Most countries, get them in Russia and shit, they won't let you have microwaves there. Because they know that they're bad.
Well, Russia creates bunkers for their own people, huh? I think. Is that right? Or is that fake news? I don't know anymore.
It's not fake news. The Russians are good folks, man. I had some Russian neighbors, and
yeah,
man, we've had all kinds of neighbors here, and we've had everything from soup to nuts. And I'm telling you, the ones I like the best were the Russians. Okay, they keep to themselves. They mind their own business. They're friendly. They're helpful. They're the kind of people that if you're having trouble lifting something, you can go over and say, hey, come over here for a minute, give me a hand. They'll come right over and give you a hand. They're that kind of folks.
Yeah.
Okay, and you don't find those anymore. Not by a long shot. Most people are they're worthless.
Yeah.
These guys, since that I had over there, I got nothing but good shit to say about them.
That's awesome. It's nice to see good people, man. And it's like, it's rare to run into them. Or it's rare to run into somebody who's not all about themselves, right? Somebody that'll actually listen, or take the time to care.
Everybody's basically good. It's just that they've been brainwashed.
Yes.
We've been brainwashed all lives. All the shit we've been told, almost everything's been colored, shaded, and twisted seeded with untruth. There's truth mixed with untruth.
Yes.
Once again, Satan into play, but it's all been mixed up so that we're led to believe the wrong shit. We're not told so much. There's so many things like the airliners. There's one for you. You know about the airliners, right?
The airliners, airplanes? Yeah, the airline companies?
Yeah, the big ones, the Airbus, the 747 and shit, the big airliners and stuff. Those don't.
They don't exist?
That, right? They don't use fuel.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're
They
cutting
use
in
air.
now. They don't use fuel. They use
They
air?
run on compressed. They use very, very little fuel, and it's just to start the turbines. And once the turbines are going, the pump in the back goes. That's why there's that little tube at the back of every tail on every airliner. You'll see a little tube. That's the air intake.
Man.
And it sucks the air in. It forces it through the turbines, and the turbines run completely on compressed air. There is no fuel in those planes.
Wow.
They tell you they hold 11,000 some gallons of fuel in the wings. Take a look at an airliner. Just take a good look at them wings. They're paper. They're thin. And inside of them are all the hydraulics and stuff to do the flaps and the lights and all that crap. They're full. There are no tanks.
So what do you think's in the
there.
fuel? Because they're obviously fueling them up on the tarmac and stuff. You think it's whatever's in the chemtrails? Maybe if they are spraying something.
When they fuel them up at the tarmac, they use a little tiny little cart thing. And if think anybody's watching, they use this little cart. It takes about 2 minutes. It looks like they put in about 5 gallons or 10 gallons, like a car gas tank, all right? That's about what it looks like. Hardly any gas. They tell you they use 11,000 gallons in those planes, and it's in the wings. Get the hell out of here. You know how heavy that is? You know how many Camaros stacked on top of each other on each wing that would be? That plane wouldn't even get off the ground, much less start whipping around and flying like it does without that shit splashing all over. Get out of here. I'll tell you something else, too. Watch them. Watch when they take off. Watch that big plane when it takes off. It'll go to the end of the runway. It'll just kind of float straight up in the air.
Yeah.
Whoop, just kind of lift straight up. Okay, that's because they are floating. They don't go nearly as fast as they tell you. They tell you they're going about 400 miles an hour. They're not going 400 miles an hour. They're going maybe 200. Okay, they're going a lot slower. They fly a lot lower than they lead us to believe. That's because the map we're led to believe is smaller, and you can prove that on. That's a whole other thing we could go into.
Okay, flat Earth.
Well, I don't know about the flat Earth thing.
Well,
Maybe
you had said that there's nemesis coming around the sun, so you must not be into flat Earth too much, huh?
I believe in nemesis, and I believe that we're about to get spun somehow.
Yeah.
The flat Earth, I don't know, man. I want to believe it.
It's tough. It is tough.
There's stuff that can't explain right.
Right.
You know, I mean, the sun simulator, I could understand that. The moon being hollow.
Yeah. Or the moon being like a Project Bluebeam type projection, right? Those guys have captured it like refreshing like a computer screen or something.
Yeah, have you seen that?
Yeah,
the waves that goes over.
Yeah, that was actually caught by an amateur astronomer on YouTube, and his account got banned. And he wasn't a conspiracy theorist or anything. I know about that. I know about
the one that me is you look at the moon and all the craters are the same depth. You ever notice that?
I guess I haven't.
Take a look at a picture of the moon. They're all the same depth. All of them.
Huh.
The big ones, they all go down. You know, it looks, I don't know how many feet, but a few.
Yeah.
And then it's just, they're all flat. You can see the bottoms on every one of them.
Yeah, I need to get a telescope.
You know that.
I need to get a telescope.
Okay.
Or I just need to get Astro. What's his name? Astro Dog?
Dr. Astro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the one weird thing about the moon, astronaut, the one thing about the moon is it doesn't spin. That's the craziest thing to me. I don't know. I'm guessing it could happen, but in a system that was created chaotically by happenstance, it's just all too perfect, I think.
It wasn't. It was put there. I guarantee you the moon was put there. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. It's also hollow. Okay, there's technology laying all over the face of the moon, all over it. It's covered with alien technology. There's ships, there's bases, there's all kinds of stuff going on the moon. We're just not told about it. they've had the ability to space travel for darn near as long as well you've been alive.
Probably, yeah.
30,
oh, yeah.
They've been to Mars. They've been all over the place.
Yeah, so you think there is already a secret space force, huh?
They've had that for a long time. They're just kind of now letting it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's all the black triangles are us. Okay? Most all the UFOs that are reported, most of that's us.
Right.
Some of them are not. Some of them are coming from somewhere else. Maybe from the Antarctic, from the inner Earth.
Could be from the ocean, for all we know, right?
They could be interdimensional or something. I don't know. But I know that all the black triangles, that's that TR3B. That's us.
I've seen those. I actually seen one in Colorado a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're real.
What do you think about Tom DeLonge? Do you know about that situation? Tom DeLonge, lead singer of Blink-182, came out with Luis Elizondo from the CIA, and they were releasing the video of the UFO that the Pentagon confirmed. Do you know about that? No?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, he's the lead singer of Blink-182. Yeah, he's coming out, and they started this big UFO thing. Anyways, it's crazy, but they said that there was a base underneath the ocean outside the coast of California. Do you think some of these bases are all over the place, and that they like?
Yes, they're all over the place, and they are under the ocean, and that's not the only one. There's many of them,
like Dulce
and big whole patches of the ocean that you can see they're being mined. They're being strip mined. You can see miles and miles of straight lines up and down. It looks like a plowed field ready to plant, and they go different directions. They've even got, on Google Earth, you can go, you see the machines that are doing it, these big round circular humps that roll over and they leave tracks. They're mining. They've been mining the ocean years and years and years. They've been living places where we don't go. And they've been here long before us. They were here at the beginning, and they run us now, and they always have.
Dang.
We have never been in control of ourselves. Not since man started walking have we been in control of our own destinies. They have been. They've controlled everything. They've controlled everything you've heard, everything you've ate, everything you believe has all went through them.
I think we're starting to wake up to that truth, too.
Huh?
I think we're starting to wake up to that truth as well. A lot of people, they're starting to see at least that side of it. We're all on the Titanic looking at the top of the iceberg, and we're trying to tell people, hey, look, there's something up here, and they're like, I don't see nothing. And it's really bigger underneath.
Yeah. It's God.
Yeah.
The whole thing is it's disgusting.
It is.
That we don't know what we should know. It's really disgusting, and it's disgusting that we're not where we should be. We should be hundreds of years ahead of where we are right now.
Yeah, what was
it? We should have free energy.
Yeah, was it
society.
60 years since the Wright brothers flew to the time we landed on the moon? How long has it been since the moon landing? We're still... Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. And it's the whole thing. It's just, if you look at it, they didn't lose the information. And supposedly they took us to the moon on a computer that was less than a PlayStation. All right? And you're telling me they can't do that again? And they said they lost the technology. And oh, my God.
It is laughable, but it's terrifyingly laughable.
It's horrific.
Do you think NASA lies a lot? NASA lies? Yeah.
The whole world getting up at once. That's the beauty, and that's the beauty of the Internet.
It is.
Everybody starts to wake up at once.
But don't you think that should give us hope? You think there's hope?
Well, yeah, of course there's hope.
Yeah.
At the end, this isn't all of it. We're stuck in these meat suits right now, walking around and doing the best we can. But when this thing expires, that's far from the end of things. Yeah. Believe me, it's on. It just depends on the steps you take afterwards. You know, if you want to get yourself, if they still got the field up where you get brainwashed and shit, don't go into the light. But it shouldn't even be that. Hopefully, by the time we die, that won't even be in place anymore.
What is that?
This planet is known throughout the whole damn universe. We're one of the scariest planets there is. None of the aliens want to come here, and the ones that do stay far away, and they watch us because we're of great interest to everyone else. All the Federation of Light, everybody's watching us. We're a violent planet, much more violent than any other planet. Most planets in the universe only have one race. Okay? We're one of the only planets in the universe that have, blacks, whites, Asians, everybody. We got all kinds of different races and stuff running around here. The other planets have that. Other planets, it's just all one people.
But don't you think a lot of the violence, that if this planet is violent, it's a lot of, whoever's in control, they, not human, whoever they are, manipulating us to be divided and fight each other all the time, constantly?
Of course. They don't want us linking up. They don't want us doing what we're doing right now.
Prison planet.
That's what they don't. Yes, it is. Yeah. In a way, it is. There are souls that volunteer to come here and go through the brainwashing, and go through the light. Okay, you go to the white light when you die, and you see the light, and it feels like God and everything, and you're supposed to go into the light. That isn't what you do. Okay, the light is what brainwashes you. The light, and you'll see your family standing out there. That's being used on your residual memories and stuff, and they're brainwashed.
Where's the light coming from?
Wiped, and then they reshoot. They put your soul. They put it in a baby again. They wipe your crap and they reincarnate you down here again, and that's where your soul goes. Your soul goes back in and comes back out for another round.
Do you think that's what they're doing with the moon? Do you think that's what the moon's use is? Is that's what's doing it? Is the moon?
No, the moon. I don't know if it's the moon or not, but I know that when you die, supposedly there's a light, and if you go into it, that's where you get the brainwashing. If you from the light, if you got enough sense to know that you're dead, and you got enough composure to not go into the light, don't do it. I'm not going to.
Yeah, well,
hell yeah, I'm not going into the light.
Well, that's a lot of the time. Well, that's why we call the show The Hidden Path, because usually the path you don't want to take is the one that's well lit. The most people are traveling on. They're all going. It's easy to find. It's easy to see. The path you want to take is the hidden one that's not well traveled. That's dark. It's hard to find.
What a point. Is a very, very good point. Right? I couldn't have said that better myself.
Well, you've said a lot of good things really well.
We're not going to do it?
Huh?
Oh, yeah. You get me going, and I don't shut up. Bob, are you on this line?
I am on this line now.
God, well, you're live, the whole world right now on YouTube.
Oh, well, hello.
Hello, Bob. How you doing?
Love you. I'm doing wonderful. And yourself?
Oh, fantastic, man. I'm just talking to Lymerick here, and, man, we are going deep down the rabbit hole. How about you, Bob?
Oh, well, I haven't started, but I'm looking to go down the rabbit hole. How about you?
Well, I'll come in a minute, okay? We're just about to end this, so I'll be in a second.
It's actually our 3-hour mark right now, Lymerick, so I'm going to have to let you go. We're out of time for tonight. But, man, you need to call me again, brother. Let me tell you something.
Yes, I will. I'll be coming in here every week, right?
Yeah, every weekend on Saturday night. I'll tell you what, a lot of what you said is right on.
Saturday night, I love it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'm going to let you go. Hey, stay safe out there, brother, and you have a good night, all right?
Hey, thanks for having me on.
You betcha. Bye. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you want to find out more information about the show, you can check us out at hiddenpathpodcast.com, and also go ahead and go over and check out godlikeproductions.com. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and we hope to see you next weekend. Have a good night.